Two minds sinking a beat up boot, trading stories, jokes, and deeper truth. Ideas bouncing like neon in the rain, trying to ride the edge of that cosmic train. Life got us booked up, stress got us tight, but Saturday frees as we take flight tonight. We're vibing out with no receipt, cause wisdom's free and real talk's cheap. 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 Talk cheap, real cheap, come get your fill with spinning reels with zero chill, funkin' around with no receipts. Saturday night, we talk so cheap, real cheap, it's how we play. No filter, no price, no bills to pay. We say it raw, we say it deep, it's cheap, and it's real talk peep.
Real Talk is Cheap, Season X, Episode X, SXEX, SXEX.
Very exy.
Exy, XXEX, the XX. It was cool making the graphics for this because like because it is like XX, cheap.
Yeah, that's it, extra cheap.
It'll be a long time before this ever happens again. I mean, it would have to be...
At least another 200 episodes.
Well, at least. Well, we'd have to reach Season 20.
Yeah, that's it.
Episode 10.
It's a good, yeah.
What would that be, like 2X?
Yeah, double XX.
XXX?
We got triple X all in one.
Triple X.
Look forward to that.
SXXEX?
So
S2XEX.
That's
S2XEX.
it, bro.
Oh, no. Maybe at that point it's 20. I don't know.
Feeling sexy might destroy the world.
Could be anything, it's hard to say. How are you?
Yeah, really well. Well rested.
Oh, that's interesting.
Good game, last night with the Civilization, and just plodded along, catching up on my catch-ups, and then,
Oh man, this week, or last week's catch-up on episode 9's catch-up, is like there's
some just crackers
really,
in there.
really good
crackers, yeah.
And some really interesting topics, ranging from like really technical, like I actually love the one about the frequency lens, the frequency sensor, multi-frequency sensors, and it just made it fun.
We discussed it because it's a subject dear to my heart.
It was really fun.
In part of seeing all the things, we need to be able to get into those different frequencies and be able to see.
We do. Why can't we?
A visible representation of it. That's it.
Yeah, being able to walk through visual sound, and all sorts of things. Like, I think it'll be heaps fun. I wonder how we'd end up really doing that. Like,
well, see the echoes and the waves of sound. That'd be amazing.
Yeah, you would.
Like just dogs barking or someone tooting their horn, and then there's just huge waves of sound coming through with the frequency, and then short bursts and blasts, and it'd be like a fireworks going off all the time. Just in the sound alone. Yeah.
Like if you sort of if you took this with images, if you take the light that falls on a sensor, that's like the picture of that scene there. And it's actually a flattish kind of thing. And so with sound, though
it's not. It's more of
you wouldn't see the depth of it. Then it would be it's interesting. Like I think that to get like this frequency scanner,
you'd need something with ears.
You'd need something that scans.
You'd need an electronic version of ears for it, not just a microphone, but like a stereo optic microphone with a decent surround value collection system. I mean, you could do it with the microphone on your most of the phones because they do have a stereo.
So you're saying that the way that, for example, that this sensor system would be more complex, and it would sort of in a sense, like it wouldn't just be in this regard, like for sound waves of certain frequencies. Like once you went down to certain frequencies, it would start capturing using like you're saying, like microphone tech, and then using that to like build a 3D model of the sound to then represent that visually. Yeah,
well, it would have that be able to color the bird sounds in whatever hue you wanted it to, or the other
it would do that, but
would
it wouldn't, but not as a flat picture of the sound presently with you, but more of a spatially mapped sound, so that you would see it volumetrically. I think that's the key. Because what I was thinking of was maybe you'd need some kind of thing that you sent out, like like you'd send out like a LiDAR, for example. But if you sent out something that was even...
It was pinging, similar to the
so it destabilized.
Audio, the ultrasonic stuff.
Yeah, so it destabilized because of sound, hitting a sound wave, and because of that destabilization, it returned...
like an echo effect of what it was actually experienced.
And so you'd know the depth.
It found resistance on.
Yeah, exactly. So you would then be able to use some kind of like scanning, signal send out that then brings back the
allows you to capture it. Yeah.
Well, because I mean that I guess because also if you're trying to do like higher frequencies, and if you're going just beyond ultraviolet into actually sort of interesting stuff, then maybe you could see. Imagine like having like a thing on your phone where you could point it up at the sky and then see cosmic rays coming in.
Oh, like that. Yeah, X-ray and
like coming through the
cosmic. Actually, being able to record cosmic rays rather than the visible, emission, which is the
going all the way up, like going way beyond
southern lights. Yeah.
Like if you can do gigahertz and
Aurora
stuff.
Borealis.
Well, if you can go beyond gigahertz range, like if you can sort of visualize Wi-Fi like 5 gigahertz and above, and then you can start getting into like, I mean, what's an X-ray? Like, I mean, it's probably where does its gigahertz range start at?
On the spectrum.
Or cosmic rays. What gigahertz does cosmic rays?
You should be able to get a spectrum thing where they all sort of drop into. I think it'd be probably about 9 gig or something.
X-ray, etc. Get out. I mean that. Yeah. Oh, yep. Wow. Holy fuck. Wow. Oh, there you go. So gamma rays. From 10 billion gigahertz to 10 trillion gigahertz.
Oh, that's a lot of energy.
That's fucking serious, man. Like, imagine sending data like that. Holy fuck.
That'd be almost as much data as an ejaculation.
Yeah, an X-ray is 30 million gigahertz to 30 billion gigahertz. Not like 5, like
No.
30 billion gigahertz. Billion. And then cosmic rays, gamma rays, kick in at 10 billion. So if there's signals at 10 billion gigahertz, why do we not think that gamma rays, for example, are encoded signals? Are we able to actually...
Giving away, no, sorry. Do you want someone knocking on your door shortly?
I mean, I'm just saying, like...
Because that's how you get someone knocking on your door shortly.
We're looking around for all these kinds of like communications, and talk about like, you probably want tight in communication and things like in space, and to get a signal. If you're looking at 10 trillion gigahertz, that's a bit of data encoded, and unless you were, so we would need to be able to read something at 10 trillion gigahertz of frequency.
That's right. That'd be some serious computational power, wouldn't it?
We're dividing a second.
Constitutional.
You're dividing a second essentially into like 10 trillion
kind of segments.
And saying that the frequency wave
and being able to decipher that
as
it comes in. Not taking several thousand years, but be able to do it instantly.
Cosmic rays are different, but they're actually about 10 to the 18th gigahertz, around the same
start
as...
using those little tiny numbers, that's it.
Well, it's similar to gamma rays, but they're not in a gigahertz frequency, they're actually in a particle energy.
Yeah, the tiny,
so
when they
like
got the tiny
radio,
numbers, so the
microwave...
numbers in the corner, and the tiny numbers near the one, then that means a lot of zeros.
A lot, so this is like...
A lotly amount.
Oh, here we go, no, 10 to 16. So we have the computer is like working.
Behaving badly. Computer's behaving badly.
Oh, wow, it's like that it's even... Wow. Yeah, I've actually got like... This is wild, right? I've actually got on my screen at the moment, I've never seen anything like this. So the graphics processing on my main monitor is like treating my mouse pointer as this kind of illuminating square that is like brightening the image behind on the desktop.
You're getting a VR enhancement.
And as I move, like for example, like I pick up a window,
welcomed overlay.
When I pick up a window and I paint with it, I can actually paint on the screen with the window.
Everyone's going to want that technology, but you better keep it quiet.
Yeah, I don't know, man. I've never seen anything quite like this. So.
Okay, everyone, they're listening. They are.
Can we even like the slow-mo guys? They've got things that can do, for example, like 10,000 frames a second.
That's right. I see.
Yeah. So this is like
video.
10 to the 16 frames a second, not like 10 to the 5.
You'd be able to watch a bee fart. You could slow it down so much that you could actually watch a bee have a little fart.
No, man. At 10 trillion, like a trillion, you would be seeing like the process of proteins doing shit. Like you would see like spark.
Have the technology. Well, you'd have the technology to do the full tricorder scanner, like medical scanner.
You'd have a photon. You'd be capturing. You would see photons still.
I
would suggest
if you capture any illness.
Oh, beyond illness. If you're scanning in the, I don't know, man. Like if you're scanning in the 10 trillion gigahertz range.
Handheld tricorder, knowing what's inside any rock.
You're scanning so small you can like it's beyond millimeter wave. This is like nanometer wave.
That rock's got tritium in it. Collect some of them.
Nanometer wave is 1 billion. So this is like small as like pico, and then even then it's like a trillion times smaller than pico. That's almost like Planck length. Hang on, let me just check this. What is the distance from one peak to the next on a 10 trillion gigahertz signal? Like much bigger than like Planck length or something.
Oh yeah. Loving the grapefruit juice. Oh yeah.
Okay, so still much larger.
Scraping the surface.
So we're talking about a signal around 10 to the 34 hertz. So the wavelength is around 3 times 10 to the negative 26 meters. Planck length is 1.6 times 10 to the negative 35 meters. So I mean, it's not that far away from Planck length compared to where we are.
Yeah.
It's a lot closer. It's 2 billion times larger than Planck length.
Yeah, so it's workable.
No, but it's down to, it's sub-quark scale.
Counting quarks.
So even a 10 to the 34 hertz wave, a proton quark scale Planck length. So we need a lens that can basically read frequencies lower than quark scale.
Yeah.
So 10 to the 26, 10 to the 20th. Bonus. Once wavelengths reach around, I get why they make 10 to speed. The 10 trillion gigahertz signal has a wavelength of around 3 times 10 to the negative 26 meters. Extremely tiny, but still 2 billion times larger than Planck length. And but still smaller than yes, a wavelength of 3 to the negative 10 to the negative 26 meters is far smaller than anything in the standard model, including the quark confinement scale.
Damn.
It's smaller than an electroweak scale, smaller than a possible quark substructure scale experimental. We don't even can't even get there. How much is, it's ridiculous. So it's about 30 billion, quark is about 30 billion times smaller than a proton. Wow.
Special. Topics.
So there we go. So what I'm trying to say is we're going to need a fucking sensitive sensor.
That's all right. Super sensitive.
And I want to know why we don't think you would encode information in those kinds of signals. Like clearly, that's some dense packed information. Like you say, you could pack the entire genetic code.
Bam.
You know how what's so fucking interesting about that too, right? Those kind of things, like not cosmic rays, but which are clearly not EM waves, but gamma rays. rays. Gamma rays and those and X-rays and shit, like those things are really damaging to cellular life, right? So when you were saying
Muto, they give you the muto.
they give you the muto. But what if like actually what's happening is that the cosmic ray is actually is like you say, like DNA, like encoded into like a signal, and it's basically being sent out. It's meant to like hit things and disrupt things at such high energy that it kind of encodes the DNA into the thing. And so if you have DNA though and you're hit by one, then it mutates the signal into something else. So basically,
take my galactic interference.
so what if like gamma rays are actually the seeding tool, and that's what, and they're just sending out this blueprint
To all other worlds to make the life.
and to mutate into like basically humanoid style like creatures, for example.
Gamma ray whips.
You just got to watch out if you're already like a mutated thing, you know, because that would be
a bit mutated.
Yeah. And that's some hella. You know, it could be like, what if gamma rays, for example, were slowed down in ice, you know, in water and things like that, in gas and things, in different mediums, and so then as they as they were absorbed into, for example, they would heat up, for example, ice in a comet. You know what I mean? By over time, like so if they were like heating that up, and we're talking like tiny scales here, but this shit is so small, and then by that, like billions of instances of that randomness, is that as those things are like leaving, they're encoding, slowing down, and then the heat generating like actually a little bit of potentiality.
Adding to it now.
Gamma rays. And X-rays are 10 to the 7. Now 10 to the 7, we can see that. Like the smallest X-rays, we should be able to start seeing if X-rays contain data. Only the beginning. Like X-rays go from 10 to the 7 to 10 to the 10, and that's down to atomic radius. So we're not really, easily measuring variances at the atomic radius just yet. Like that's pretty high end. Not enough to like just take random X-rays and start analyzing them for, imagine like, wow. I mean, I'm just actually curious to see, like, if you looked at an X-ray in that kind of like resolution, what irregularity you would see. Like, what's the noise in an X-ray? From
interference
from point to point in that like 10 to the 10, in the atomic radius level. What's the voltage differences in if we're not voltage, it would be an energy difference. Like, what's it? Well, peak of wavelength difference. Peak energy of the wavelength. I don't know.
Worth on now.
But yeah, I actually, there's a guy I know who I studied physics with a little bit and quantum over in Western Australia. He's an interesting character. He's a quantum physicist. I think he would have some answers like that. Why
be able to provide the meaty bits.
I suppose. I could ask him how actually. I could say, why don't we think? I think maybe just because we can't measure it at the moment, so we don't really think about it.
Don't have the technology to do it now. Not yet capable. Soon. Coming soon. Going soon. Yeah.
Could you just check the YouTube audio and see if the background audio is too loud?
Let me just check. That's okay.
So we'll need to be talking and stuff like, to be able to.
No, it's good to have a little bit of extra noise going on as well. Yeah, that's fine. No, it's good. Where it is right now. Yeah. So if we're not talking, they've got the little tune. They can hear the tune. That's it.
There's always noise.
Always noise. Topics. End of Messenger. End of a lot of things, especially in the whole social media for the under certain ages.
Yeah, 16, hey?
Coming ahead. Under 16 is
Australia's leading the way, as we say. Not everyone feels that it's a good thing.
Nope.
It would seem.
Already pushed back.
Emotional, children upset.
Taking to high court.
Children taking to high court.
Yeah, children taking government to high court.
I would like to take the children to court.
Unhappiness.
I just want to go straight there. I would like to take children to court.
They're not having a childhood.
No, I would like to have them assessed for addicted, like actually.
Oh, addicted behaviour.
Well, like that they're basically that. Why do they? Okay, I would like to challenge them. No. Realistically, okay. Now, being honest, I'd like to challenge them that they're saying that the government is taking away their right to free speech, and I'd like to challenge them and say that the platforms that they are saying that they want to put their content on, like TikTok, Instagram, whatever, Snap, that they are not free speech environments, and that their content is owned by those things.
Yes.
So the Australian government is not taking away free speech, but is actually protecting their free speech.
Handing over
by
your
not
proprietary.
Yeah, by not letting you hand over your proprietary fucking information to these clowns. These not clowns. These very dark, clever clowns that
Dark, clever clowns. That's a good way of putting it, Si. I like that.
Yeah, because, mate, like, any kid, anyone who's sub 16 and is thinking they're being like clever by going to court so that they can have their rights stripped away by fucking some American company or some Chinese company or whatever,
hand over there,
selling them, shaking their ass so that, in the algorithm, some 40-year-old man gets his like little jollies and keeps watching ads. Are you serious?
Quick
Come on.
session.
That's not like a privilege. You're not getting special bonuses. Maybe they're saying that like the government's economically damaging them because it's denying them being able to like pre-farm to pre-farm for OnlyFans.
Pre-farm their
if we're 14-year-olds and 15-year-olds, we need the right.
You're cutting off their simp supply.
You're cutting off. It's not fair that you are economically damaging one of our few remaining opportunities for income by the time we reach 18.
Yeah.
know,
Yeah,
as
yeah.
15-year-olds,
We're trying to
we
set ourselves up with
deserve to be able to
lifestyle,
shake
you know
our
what I mean?
booties, to be able to attract perverts, so that when we're 18, we can make
That's
the
it.
big bucks.
We can go straight
right.
over to that, you know, that special place where
I mean-
you make the big money, you know, where you do the real shaking and the outcomes are
Because
you know,
we know,
tentacle and
you know,
horse cock.
Yeah, and we know a lot of people in the government would prefer that. Like, so why are they denying what they like? I mean, I don't know. Like, what's the child's angle beyond? Like, because the whole free speech thing is utter bullshit. That's why I want to take it to court. Is I want to call bullshit on them and say that they're not actually engaging in free
So
speech.
don't get me wrong, you do have free speech. You can be an idiot and you can set up an account and go do stupid things and record it and, you know, make millions of views and get all the laughs and people make money and you make money and, you know, everyone thinks you're a dickhead.
Yeah, but actually to be within the terms of service is not free speech.
No, that's right. And if you have read it, then you'll understand, you know, exactly what we're talking about.
Yeah, well, and also the ownership. Free speech is not where you've sold your content, where you've sold your speech. There's nothing for a pittance.
That's a transaction, isn't it?
Yeah.
That's doing beers.
Biz. And what you sold it for was at EULA, for the right. What you did, what these 15-year-olds are saying is they want the right to
To be
sell their
exploited.
content,
Sell it and be
for the reward
exploited.
of being able to sell their content, like to give it away so that others can make money off them.
Yeah, yeah.
But they should have the right to give themselves away.
To be exploited.
To be
That's right.
exploited. It's unfair that the
very
government is
confusing,
not
the
letting
message that we're
children
receiving.
be exploited.
Yeah.
We want, as children, to return to the mines.
Hello.
Like, we yearn for the exploitation
for
as
the
children.
minds, yeah, yearning for those
We
minds
want to-
again.
How many children do you hear complaining? Like, you know, they want it. They're like, we want the things.
Yearning, buddy, come on. Yeah.
Like, do you think if we went down the street and like with a cam and let's just start asking youth, like, are you keen to be exploited? Are you is that your daily desire to like have photos of you like just stolen and like poured over by old people? Yes or no?
Creepy old people.
No. Oh, okay.
Let's
So
make this-
do you have a social media account? So I thought you said no because now you just said yes.
Have you been flashing your bits on there and doing little dances and shit?
Yeah.
You've been selling.
Yeah, you've been selling. Whether you realize it or not, mate.
And keeping this, you know, junker thumping, you know, Japanese businessman. you know,
Whatever.
Happy as hell. Chinese businessman, happy as
All
hell.
of them, every business.
Me so fucking horny.
Muslim one, Saudi one, American one,
Yep,
you know,
yep,
your
yep.
dad's fucking friend's one, you know,
That's it,
whatever,
yeah.
like all of it, like
Yeah, all the sickness. Yeah.
just all of it, like, oh well, she was there, I didn't know, like I didn't realize, you know, like whatever, like I mean,
Well, I didn't realize it was your friend.
oh
you know.
sorry, yeah, well, it just looked a bit like it, but I thought, you know, I mean, she had
Didn't really see
I didn't
her
realize
breasts
that her
much, it was
breasts were
always-
like that, I could
it was
see them,
there.
you know, like so I couldn't tell.
That's it.
It's like, fuck
Real difficult in that school uniform, you know.
like man, these platforms. So I think that actually
man. I know.
parents need to sue the children. Like as a parent, like I said in that regard, like I guess that's what I want. I want to sue. If the children think they can sue, then I want to sue the children.
Yeah.
How about that? Can adults sue the
Being
kids?
irresponsible.
Yeah.
Sued for being
Yeah,
irresponsible.
no, and they need to actually, you know, pony up and
So
be
it's just
fucking
laying it
responsible.
down. That's it, man. Yeah.
What is it?
Well, it's not even social media anymore, is it?
No, it's ad media. It's fucking every
Full
cell
of
on there
ads,
is an
full
ad
of
unit.
bullshit.
It's a meme unit.
I
It's an
know
ad. You know,
Super
we
with
talked about
Tubicals,
it.
they got 3 ad specials now. Like they go into the triads. It
Man,
used to
like-
be just dual ads and now triads now.
Yeah, and they want you to make the content the same length as an ad.
Yeah, about 30 seconds, you know, to a minute.
Well, on YouTube, you can make ads that are 10 minutes long if you want. Like,
Well, it's an infomercial, mate. Introduction to our stuff.
YouTube's a bit singular like that.
I mean,
Like, it's-
we do a sort of bit of infomercial thing when I go sponsor hard-rated alcoholic lemon soda, 4.5% tonight, 18 plus on the big 18 plus on it, 1.3 drinks.
Okay,
I'll take
I'm
it easy.
having SodaStream bubbles with Bickford's sugar-free raspberry flavoured cordial.
Oh, nice.
No sugar,
Yeah.
no added sugar, tradition and purity. And
Just the flavours, yeah.
And the second thing is SodaStream,
Me
Pepsi
like it.
Max branded, Pepsi Max concentrate. So I got 2 drinks going. I've got a raspberry flavoured one, and I've got a Pepsi Max flavoured one. So nice.
Nice.
Look, this is interesting. It is, well, okay, it came out this week, and because it was also related to the 16 thing, and there was someone else having a conversation with, and you know this is what occurred to me. Now this is just going to say straight up, just hear me out, because it's going to start off sounding pretty bad, all right?
Pretty bad, but there'll be a decent,
there's a point.
hopefully wholesome point coming out of it at the end.
All right. So
That's it.
you know how in like sort of like a lot of religious stuff and like the cultural systems, we'll call them, because they're the same. So culture, the result of being in a cult. Culture.
Cult you are. Yeah, that's it.
Cult you are. Yeah.
Yeah.
And we're playing with words, but you go fucking look up that word. That's what it's talking about.
Yeah,
right? Culture
seriously,
is that
come
word.
on.
That's
Yeah,
what culture means.
Normally the breakdown tell you
So
everything.
the result of being in a cult is how we behave. And culture, and there was this whole thing around, that if you were marrying someone, like you wanted them to be a virgin, all right? So this whole thing around virginity, but this was important. But when I was thinking about this, I was actually thinking about the time when such a concept was kind kind of being talked about, when it was being written down and being proposed as a good idea, right? And we see it as like, oh my gosh, like, it's just sort of restricting it. But if you think about actually in the time when a person was purchasing a wife from a family, so you were paying money, you're paying a dowry, or some other kind of system in most countries or most systems, most cultural systems had
they got
a transfer of value.
It was, the transfer of value.
So you're buying this thing, so you're buying something.
Virginity had the value, that's right.
Yeah, but the person that you're purchasing was around 14 to 15. Now, if they were not a virgin at 14, then
there'd be some serious questions going on.
Then there's some questions, right? So actually the whole thing around virginity and that stuff, and we all see it as all a bit like, oh, whatever now. But if you actually think about it, it actually was saying something. It was actually trying to put a control measure in place. Like I'd actually suggest.
They kept it locked into that age.
They tried to say, it was actually, perhaps actually the whole virginity thing was like almost like in that religious way, in that culture way, was where we started trying to protect children.
Yeah, well, they got kid time. They didn't get,
got kid time.
introductions to adult time, did they? No.
Like the slave was a 12, well, they're not really any value, like, well, that's not, and they became devalued, right? So like, oh, well, we don't, and so even if you stole them or something, or you were trying to not rape them or something, like, you know what I mean? Or because they were more valuable whole, like, so,
intact, as they say, yeah.
So there was actually kind of this built-in system by saying that it even protected them against bad people. So even if they were slave, kidnap victims and stuff, there was a potential that they wouldn't be being assaulted as a fucking 12-year-old or a 10-year-old because the slave would at least know.
Just because you're keeping the virginity doesn't mean you're not,
well, whatever,
there's not other interference going on because it only had the virginity only has to be the front hole, doesn't it? You know what I mean? Like,
oh well, no. I mean, I'd say that historically, where people that kind of moral, that observational thing would be pretty assessed. Like it'd be easy to assess because you'd just be turning the person around naked, like on the stand as you were purchasing them in the square. So you could check out if there, if you thought various other entries or so forth that were important or not important to you, or sailed in any kind of way. But like it was just it's interesting to consider that actually that it is an early form as opposed to seeing it negatively, as if it's some kind of religious controlling thing of women's bodies.
Stockard, that's it, or whatever.
But perhaps it was actually a religious protection of women's bodies. As children. And then what we've done is, as we've extended culturally, like this the natural age of where we think it's not reasonable to 14 to 16, 16 to 18, this kind of thing.
But they're not engaging in, sex
then also it just starts
whatever,
becoming virginity, starts becoming like more and more like this because it's likely that say 16-year-olds are like playing around or something like that. Like in Brave New World, the kid like they have the special camps where they, and it's like the certain amounts are allowed,
learn the things.
To like educate them in a particular way for their scale of like use in society. And so I mean anyway,
set levels of expectation. You'll only be doing this twice a year.
And so then now the concept of like where people really balk at it, you think about you've got to be a virgin before marriage, but marriage could be when you're 33. Now that doesn't make sense. Like it's not 14 and you're being sold off by your parents and the regional belief systems have just said, hey, like let's make this a little bit more sane. So so I just like it was interesting just considering and developing like actually a thoughtful framework around why that was existed as opposed to just
measures.
As opposed to just seeing it negatively from a modern view, like actually considering its position and why it would have been created. And generally things are created from a good perspective. Like
they're normally created around a family framework. So
and even the bad things tend to come from good intentions. Like like a lot of the stuff around the Jewish, like being the wonder people was when there was hard times, and then rabbis at the time wrote in some things to make it a little bit more bearable. And then instead of taking them back out when the emergency was over, they left them in, and then everyone just believes that that's the way. This kind of stuff happens in systems, and so but it's nice to go back and reflect on these things. And so that so I'm not against it. I think that the virgin thing makes sense. I also think that children under a certain age should just yes, why not? Why should they should be virgins?
It allows that whole it allows that whole getting used to themselves first.
It does. But isn't it interesting that we're now so anti about virginity and anti about like before anything, and so we're kind of then promoting like a behaviour which says
no longer sacred. That's right.
Those younger people then start behaving less and less sacred in that regard. I don't really want to go down the classic conspiracy hole of like where we're trying to make
even if you want to do the electrochemical thing side, the whole bonding experience does create that dopamine joining.
It does.
So best to leave that stuff until later. When it's needed. When you need to develop it, or families organising the marriage of their children.
Well, you want to have. You decide that you want to breed. You want to produce things. I don't know. Also, like the creation of children, if you, on a sort of a larger scale. I mean, really, if we had, I don't know. There's just an amazing, like you could do some pretty trippy shit, like where you were like, we need this, which we've talked about, where people then put their hand up and like actually, selected for like, we need what you two would make. You know what I mean? Like the ultimate in kind of like,
we need to join our houses together so that
pays you, the breeder.
Well, isn't that already in place, bud?
We're going to need 10,000 engineers.
Here's your special.
So anyone who wants to make engineering children, come to this place. We're going to build a fucking school and all this stuff. Right?
Get the full course, the guidance.
I mean, there's trained like super high tech engineers. Your children from even in primary school will be trained as like we can have this production line of fucking like super high quality, and they'll come out as specialist versions of whatever aerospace engineering.
They won't know any other thing. They'll have to get everything else taken care of for them, but they'll know that super the well.
Yeah, just wanted. Yep.
Desired.
Yeah, you can, and your role is fine. Like if you want to be, if all you're sort of up to is just say, for example, working the checkout in the Coles in the area, that's totally satisfactory. We don't give a shit. If you want to be like a, something else, like other kinds of roles or things that are necessary in a community, that's totally.
But they're a limited, position.
That's right, because we only process so many of these a year. It's like
AI does most of it, but we need the human there just for the human touch.
Do you want to know something which I was told this week? And this leads into a big topic that we have got, which Chella talked about this week as well. And what I was told is that the NDIS starting next year for like reviews and also for new applicants, I believe. This one might not be all accurate, but yes, to some degree it is. Like for new applicants and for reviews and things. So at the moment, what happens is like once you get approved, you get an OT comes out, occupational therapist, because it's all about, it's interesting because it's about work. And they come out and do a functional assessment on the client, and then through that functional assessment, then that'll designates information that can decide funding levels and other stuff, based on the capacity of the client and their assessment. But it's functional, so it's physical, less than psychological. You sort of, and it's hard to have psychological reports, and you kind of want your OT to kind of. But anyhow, here's the problem. So it's already really hard. You got an OT coming in, talking to somebody who's scared of fucking men, whatever. That's an easy one, right? So scared of men. So and so every time they go to the house, they're fucking terrified they can't be in a workplace, and so they're acting very sexist in all these kind of ways, right? But they need like a whole bunch of support. But how does a functional? So the functional therapist like walks them around the house, going, "Can you make a sandwich?" It's like, yes. Oh, there's nothing wrong with the person. You know what I mean? So that already is a problem. But the problem is about to escalate even more. So what's going to happen is there's going to be a standard form, and I guess they'll have it for different streams. You know what I mean? Maybe for like physical, or maybe there's 3 or 4 of these forms. And so someone will be trained not medically, not in disabilities, but in the form,
in the special form,
in the form, right? So they know how to ask the questions and fill out the form, right? And so then they come out to you, and you go, okay, I'm being reviewed, and then so the person sits down, they take you through the form, right? And then they go back and they put the form into a computer, and AI assesses the results the person collected from you, and then that determines your situation.
That's very smart.
The end. Like there's no like you can't like suggest
putting it all on the AI's head and having it completely blamable is perfect.
Like when you go to a bank and if you go through the loan process and they say sorry, you can't have a loan. Like there's no like then tribunal you can go to argue the point.
This is already starting to feel like, I'm just going to stop here and say it, robo-debt.
That's what my client fucking said to me, hey? That's what my fucking client
This is going to be another robo-debt.
Chaos, man. Like serious, people are going to die. Like people are going to fucking just go, I can't believe what just happened to me. And they'll be souls destroyed with no recourse, no fucking ability to go to our thing.
And it's all AI's fault.
So nothing's fault.
The unblamable.
Yeah, because at the moment you can, as like it's quite a process. Well, not really, but like length of time. But you can, as a client of the NDIS, if you wish, you can go on and like request a freedom of information and like and get like and get even
receive all the docs and that.
Yeah, and what like say for example, the NDIS plan thought of you or like why they made decisions, for example. Yeah. But with this, like there won't be a plan. There will be no. It'll just be like going for a loan. Computer said no.
That's it. We booted your ass hard. Your butt cheeks didn't fuse together. Sorry, no loan for you.
And that's just full on. So, and it's like this whole sort of thing. Like it's so interesting. Like working with people who are unable to do things, and then you look at any system that's designed to assist or support them in any way, right? And there's
like this shroud of invisibility over it.
It's obscure, like obtuse, like inscrutable, like all those kinds of words.
With great difficulty.
To start off with,
To
start off with, as an example, is so NDIS, because that's the big thing in Australia, right? So NDIS, that's about disability, top tier.
That's it.
It has a phone number to call, right? And so this call, where you call is a call center, and you can get through those people, and they can talk to you about all these sort of NDIS things. You know what I mean? They can tell you about stuff about NDIS. It's all good. They know shit, but they can't do anything. Okay?
They're not able to make a decision. No.
Well, no, not just decision. Like they can't.
They're more helper, and I can put you onto the right department.
Correct. Right. So what they can know, but what they can do is they can put in all they can do is put in a request
for a recommendation
for a department to contact you about a problem. Right. So let's say that you've got 2 accounts, or let's say your account's broken in some other way, or let's say you've got a funding problem or whatever. So there's all these different departments. So they would then send clients having an issue. Right. So they just basically make tickets. They make support tickets. So the call center makes support tickets. But here's the support center. So the call center can't check on the status of support tickets.
No, it goes into like the twilight zone.
Yeah, they have to. All they can do is make support tickets. They can't check the status of any support ticket.
So
if
you ring them back and want to know what's happening, they have to
make another support ticket. No, they can't put you on.
They can't put you on.
No. They can't.
There is no putting on. There is no putting on. Just the requesting of the tickets.
Yes. All they can do is write support tickets.
Seems a little bit convoluted.
Yeah, well, but then as you say, like so then you've got this entire thing, the call center that you can ring. They're very helpful and do nothing. They literally can do nothing. Nothing can be done. Right? And then and you can't call. There's no number, or they don't even have an email address or anything. So you can't.
For the support department.
No, you can't. No. They don't know it. You can't
they just
know
create
it.
the ticket.
Yeah, that's it.
And then they call you. The department will call you when they're ready.
And then they will say to you, for example, like, oh yeah, I get it. Yeah. All right. Yep. And then they say, well, you'll get an email when the job's done. Months pass. Nothing happens.
Still no email.
Nothing happens
because
there's no one to call.
They made a ticket. Well, the people that made the ticket and picked up the ticket
Made a ticket.
have now made another ticket
Yes.
to the people who actually do it.
That's correct.
And then they're waiting.
Yeah. Well, they're not waiting.
Well,
probably.
no, they're not
They've
waiting.
moved
sorry.
on.
They've moved on, and you're waiting on those next people
That the support
to
center if you
generate
call-
an email to say someone else has done it.
Yeah. And if you call a support center, they have no idea about this other ticket. Because it would be in a whole other system. You know what I mean? It would be like second tier,
So really, you could ring and start all over again.
Yes.
Several times.
Yes.
Before your first ticket actually gets recognised and,
Yes.
and actioned.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah. And then you might be classed as a problem.
Oh, that's bureaucracy 10,000 side.
It is, right.
isn't
So
it?
that's
Mugwum rubs his belly and
So
giggles softly.
Imagine you're a person with who's unable to do things. So, for example, calling a call center is already a stressful experience. Trying to remember your number, finding the thing, having the cognitive capacity,
having the
time,
details, and
So then you're waiting.
patience. Yeah.
And then you get to the thing, and then you think, and then nothing, and then you know, like how many times is the disabled person calling back again and again to have nothing happen? Like it becomes their whole life, or they give up, and they just don't call and nothing happens. Like
that's right. Yeah.
And,
so continuous disappointment side. You've got it.
continuous disappointment, like that they can always just fail.
Yeah.
And the simplest thing, like literally, like how's this? Like for example, and mission critical. So imagine you have, for example, maybe you've got a card swipe to get into the office.
Yeah.
Right? But imagine in the system there was two of you that had the same cards assigned. How would that work? But there were two different profiles. They were both called M, and you were going up with a card, and it would when you tapped in, it thought it was you or the other M, and it wasn't sure. Like that would chaos,
so
wouldn't it? That would be right. So pretty important. Pretty important. You can't log in. You can't get into your building. So if you're a client and you've accidentally had like two accounts created, so you have two NDIS numbers that can't link to MyGov, it fails. So how do you access your fucking NDIS? Because you can't. You've got two numbers. Like you've got which
number's the right number.
So you try and ring them up, and you go through the system, and eventually, like after 2 or 3 times, you've gone through the complaints department. So someone then calls you from complaints somehow, and then silence for months. So
we have noticed you've made numerous calls.
yes. Is there an issue? Is there a complaint? Oh well, we've that's probably best. I'll put a thing in for you. Thanks.
I'll just get a ticket organised.
Get organised.
Oh, baby.
Yeah. So right.
You can see how they'd be so frustrated.
Yeah, like that. Like that's not designed for disabled people. That's not designed for people who are unable to do things. It's not designed.
Well, it is because it creates such a barrier.
Yeah, just ridiculous. It's just unfathomably difficult.
It's a promise of help, but it ends up just being a ticket.
Yeah. How, for example, and then you just go through all the levels of like how fuck this is. You know, like you get like, for example, an occupational therapist comes out to do an assessment on a person, and the person who is unable doesn't really, for example, understand. It might be feeling anxious.
Yeah.
So then, and the OT doesn't really have any skills in psych, so they don't realize the person's like lying or masking or anything. They just write down everything they agree with. Oh, yeah, no, I can do the thing. You know.
Yeah.
They don't really, want to be honest. Like they're scared, or but the point of it is like that the system then, like they're completely misrepresented. Like the person is being assessed, which will affect their very fucking life, right? And they don't understand how they're being assessed.
No,
I'm talking about this universal with almost everybody who's on that system. That the person they don't understand how what's going on, and once the assessments come, and they come back and they're like, what? Well, I do backflips. What do I do? I can't do a backflip.
Yeah.
I said I fell over. I mean, no.
I said I'm in a wheelchair and I can do full manual labour.
Yeah. And it's really telling that the system is designed, and I say it again, which I've already said, is designed around employment. Because can you get a job? Can you do a job? Can we drag you out, freaking out about the world, half-assed, and make you freaking part of the system? And if you're not, we're going to have to oh God, we're going to make your wheel, and we're going to try and make your wheel not turn very far. So,
and then throw you in with all these other people just trying to do the job.
So there's all these systems.
They've got to be catering and helping around you.
Yeah, there's all these systems, for example, like around that you can get rebates for all the energy if you've got disabilities like that are particular and stuff, right? So, and they're reasonable rebates, right? But the form, and then you've got to take it to the doctor, and you've got to understand how to get a thing, and you've got to understand your stuff. It's like a 10-step process.
Yeah.
Like it's like, and I'm going to go to like something which I've observed because I've done this with even with say education. So if you are on disability support pension in Australia, most TAFEs and other universities have really like zero price. Like
you can get to do all those courses for next.
Yeah, with people who help you in certain
guide you, can help you through the course. Yeah,
help you through the course, have extra tuition and so forth. One-on-ones and stuff. So if you go to say for example, if I go to Queensland or New South Wales TAFE, and I look at that, you can't tell that that's the case. No. Like you can go and you can look at a course.
It's another one of those really hidden things.
It's completely hidden. Like as a person who's unable and you're going through and you're like, oh, I'd like to study that. It doesn't feel like that there's any support there. It's not like on the front page. It's like, are you unable to work this out? Are you unable? Click here. Like that. You actually
having difficulties. This is the way to the portal.
Someone who will help you. Never done this before. Like no, I can't do it. And so you got to go through it. Okay, for an example, is like with the pricing thing. To understand that you pay $0 with DSP, with disability support pension, you have to register for the course, register USI, register with TAFE,
basically go through everything right up to the point of paying for it.
Put your pension number in, do all the things, and it comes through, and then tells you that you're paying $0.
Yeah.
And at no point prior to that, it'll just say maybe, and you might get a special discount.
the final thing goes through when you put your picture thing in. Yeah.
Everything is like there's concessions.
Do not fear, you won't be any money that looks like it's got to be paid. It'll automatically just go to zero at the end, and you just go.
It doesn't say that enough. It all just says you may have concessions, and but what's a concession? $10?
Yeah.
You know, like it's not actually
nothing.
And here was the thing for me. Like I looked through, so I have narcolepsy, and I thought about like putting that in as because it actually affects the way that I might be able to study in certain class environments. It was boring ass lectures. So, but then as soon as I was trying to register, as soon as I said that maybe I had a condition, it didn't let me finish registering for the course. I was then going to have to contact people and then put through a process, and that can be really a barrier for people. Like I don't want to speak to them. Maybe I just want to do.
I just want to do the thing.
I just want to do the choir. I want to make a big scene. Like a lot of people, and I've been thinking about like a lot of ways. Like it's like why on a university website wouldn't there be like a big wheelchair symbol on the front page? I've just been quite crass about it, but as an example, click here, right? And on one level, I think actually it's because we actually want to make it like it's equal opportunity. And so that as a disabled person, you're just the same as everyone else.
Yeah,
and so,
if you can't figure it out, how to get to the
result is that you can't figure it out.
Special assistance, assistance lift, and maybe you shouldn't be here anyway. Yeah.
Well, it's instead of making a big scene and putting a big blue and white wheelchair sticker on the front page of the university website, it's discreet. You don't have to feel disabled to be here. Like I think what it's trying to do is by trying to be respectful, by not saying, like by not making a big deal out of it, that you're a normal person too, and and just you get what I mean, like that it's
equality. Yeah,
the reason why it's hidden is because of equality.
Equality makes it hidden so that you can go through just as much pain as most people who would be paying for the course would actually pay for it, right up until the point that you're not paying for it, and it's just it's free.
And also like just the support, like the support is at the end of the process.
The whole illusion of this is going to cost me a shit ton suddenly just disappears.
Yeah, but it's strange how the cost level, but also the support level. Like there's not like like for example, if you go to the contact page of TAFE, it says web chat, voice, right? So once again, it's not like saying if you have disability or language issues, call this other number.
Yeah, please contact here. Yeah.
It's expecting, because it's being equal, that everyone just rings the one number, and then if you can't work your way through what all that shit means, and then the person who won't care much at the other end, because it's not like number one, if you've called this because you're unable to use the service and need like someone to help you through, like that should be option one. No, it's like, have you registered? What is your USI? It's like the 19th question would be, and you have to go in, and then someone else, and they would send an email to the disability person who would then get like it would be like, you know what I mean? It'd be a bit like the NDIS thing again, where you get through to someone who would be raising a ticket.
Putting the ticket.
Putting the fucking ticket, right?
Putting the fucking ticket.
And the next time you call back, that person won't be there. And you'll be having somebody who's checking up to see if you've got any tickets. And all they will be able to say is like, we'll make another ticket.
Couldn't contact.
Waiting for TAFE's disability team to call you back. So like by then you're terrified, thinking that you're not wanted because your whole life's been fucking like...
Only because the unable person's looking at their phone, and the phone's not an unlisted number, so they're not sure, The old Samsung saying it's possible spam, so even more...
Hold on a level.
You're freaking out even more.
Freaking them out.
Thinking some...
NDIS is calling them.
But
The amount of people
they've been totally
who would have lost NDIS because...
And then terrified by these unknown numbers ringing them.
Rang them for 3 days straight, and went, there's no answer, cancel their freaking NDIS. Ka-chink.
I know, that's it.
No attempt to actually call like a normal human being.
Well, even when they fully integrate and the robot voice is calling these people. Imagine having an AI, using an AI voice trying to ring one of these people and have a conversation with them about their account or whatever. People will be freaking out. They won't want to do robot.
I think that if they, actually, like if they can make that an Australian sounding person, and they could say, for example, would you prefer to talk to a male or a female?
G'day, mate.
G'day. Like as opposed to, and then you could say, could you speak a bit slower? No worries, I could do that. We love it. And it looks at your age and
work
goes,
as slow as you need to. Slower than a fucking sheep shearing up.
You want me to really get that drawl? I don't know. I think actually the AI would be better. I think people would appreciate it. I think that when you get...
and slow down depending on...
Even if you get somebody who is in Australia, but they have an accent, like
Australian accent,
people who have
would be far more accepting to them than the special,
whatever. Anything.
Call centre camp number 73 in fucking Cambodia. You know what I mean?
Yeah, what I'm saying is, even if you're to make it not that, even if you're in an Australian call centre, but you are Indian speaking, so you have been raised and you have certain
Australian
accents,
voice overlay.
Yeah, like you're going to struggle in a current call centre. People will be like, I can't understand what you're saying. So I think that the AIs will probably be an advantage.
Be able to change that. They'll be able to talk to the AI. But it sounds like translate into Australian.
The first place is just like going to be punishing people. You have to have like cheat. People have to. There'll be all these shareable cheat guides online that develop, so that when the person comes around, you know how to answer the form in a secret way. It's quite. So then it's a cat and mouse game to try and get onto the service. Like it's the whole thing's based on deception from the get go.
Sad, man. It's fucking sad.
Scammy scam. Like the root of it will be scammy. Yeah. Them trying to scam you and you trying to scam them, and who gets the scammy scam wins.
It'd be worse than if one of them sus Bitcoin fucking machines in the dodgy shop you just walked into. You know what I mean? Like be more sus than that.
Very much so. I mean, nobody. I've been looking at the one that I know in this food court. I don't see anyone in town.
No, and all the ones I've observed, no one's ever touching them. So how the hell they even work? That's what I want to know. I'm sniffing out susness straight up, and I'm calling it.
I don't know. So that's the state of disability in Australia. It is grotesque. It's
and secretive. It almost seems as secretive as fucking, Finkelstein's files.
Yeah, like you go in there. Like, let's say, like you're unable. So life's a bit strugglesome anyway. Probably very strugglesome. So you go in, you want a simple question: how much money have I got left this year to get someone to come in and make meals for me? Simple question, right? Pretty important to you. You need meals made. You can't make meals. So you look at you're unable to do it. So you're looking in there, and it says $165,000 and 25. There's all these weird things, and there's a queue, and you've got 12,000 left and something, and you're like, what? Like, well, how did I spend the 100? But the numbers are all like, so even the financial bit is just shown in the most confusing way.
There's no cohesion to it.
Yeah, well, because the problem is that you're shown a total number. So let's say you're shown, you might get 100.
Maybe your yearly balance,
No, you get shown from the beginning of whenever you started. Yeah. And then you're shown, like, let's say you got 10 grand left. Right?
And pretty much you got to figure it out as you add up all the things you've taken out to figure out where you're at, really.
Well, it shows you a number. It shows you that number. Yeah. But what it does is that because across time, the amount that each category, like the amount that an hourly rate was, or what that means, or all sorts of other things, or maybe even how many hours you had changed. Yeah. Right? Categories won't get removed. So the problem is that you're shown a number, let's say $112,000, and so you think, okay, well, I could divide that over 6 years I've been on NDIS. So that means that I get this much per year. Like, maybe you could try and be clever, but the amount doesn't divide like that because over time that's changed. So it's completely inscrutable. It's just that you've had this much since the beginning, and now you have this much. But how much does that relate to? Like, did I spend last year to the zero? Is this part of what some of the rollover do?
What happened to the leftovers? Yeah.
Well, it's somehow in there, but so you can't really tell. There's just no way to tell. There's no simple way to. I mean, and you can look at it like, I don't know. It's kind of trippy. I don't know. So financially
made purposely convoluted.
It is. Like, the user is just really
confused.
Well, and they have to waste a lot of time. They have to spend a heap of time
just to get the right information so that they don't do it wrong.
Yeah, because if they do it wrong, then they get in trouble.
They get fucked in the ass, mate.
Yeah, they lose the thing. Oh, you didn't spend enough. You spent too much. Whatever. So
sad.
When I was on selling payments, one of the things I realized was that for the amount of money you get, it's fucking not even enough to pay rent anymore. The whole amount is not even enough to pay rent. Then
we're heading closer and closer to that fucking dormitory lifestyle, bud.
Yeah, man. But what I realized was that to be on selling payments was like a job. The amount of work you had to do, it was such an undertaking. Proportionally for the amount of money you're getting fuck all, excuse me. You aren't doing like 40 hours on selling payments. Like, the labor you have to put in it's unreasonable. And I see that the same thing happens for people on disability or other kinds of pensions and every other, like an NDIS, is that to have NDIS means that like multiple hours of your day are going to be spent managing and thinking and worrying about NDIS. So
just
you
doing
get
the processing and yeah.
So let's say you get Centrelink benefits, housing, and NDIS. So you get 3 services. Plus like a couple of associated rebates you might try and get for power and other things. The amount of time you're going to be spending worrying about
doing the forms
and the worrying about that, and each year making sure, and the doctor's appointments, and
waiting,
and make sure you get the updated
and
specialist things, and it is your whole life. So it appears like they're giving you money to help you, but what
they're doing is they're tying you up their whole life just to deal with their service.
Yes, that you're actually working for that money.
Yeah.
Yes.
Well, you're working for them.
And the money, you don't get it. It gets given to everyone else but you. To help you, while you spend your whole time working so that they can get paid to help you. And worrying, like stressing, like you're like on a job which you might lose any time for the fucking slightest reason.
Oh my goodness, man.
Yeah, man.
Just the creation of the life of...
So they've actually made disabled people
suffering
work.
servitude. Is that what you would call it? Suffering servitude.
So disabled people, what they've done is they've found a way to make them work.
Essentially, yeah.
Essentially, right? Placing job ads, doing all this shit,
or make
worrying
them
about
work,
all the things,
make them work,
filling all the forms.
To find people to do the work for them to fill the forms in. Come on, Si.
Oh, I know. I do help people fill in forms and stuff, man. I literally...
There you go.
There you go. So then, and they are burdened by it. They're like, I'm completely overwhelmed. Can you please call NDIS for me?
Yeah.
So I can talk to the call center and have the ticket made because that is traumatic. Like dealing with the center is like, and they won't understand, and the voices and all the issues, right? Mean that like I'm actually then the NDIS money pays for people to help them, the NDIS participants, to fill out the forms to stay on the NDIS.
Yeah,
that's what support workers' time is taken up doing.
Yeah. And then sometimes doing what they actually need to do for the person.
Oh, yeah, you do get to make oatmeal and stuff. Like you do actually get to help them in actual ways.
Filling in the forms.
Man, fucking, it's ridiculous. Though. Like it is actually. I mean, this is the most absurd
Learn
system.
the bureaucracy at its greatest.
But they've made it. There's this entire industry And it wants to ensure that it actually, for dollar value, does the least amount for the disabled person, right? So that the maximum value can be extracted from the disabled person, because it will generate more sort of spiraling revenue around them by doing less for them, for the money. You know what I mean? Like by stretching it.
And not only that, distributing the frustration, not only to them, but to the person helping them. You understand? Like,
So
it's
it's
distributing frustration.
and suffering gets milked.
Yeah,
The milking of the
absolutely.
suffering.
It's perfect. It's in its
So
symmetry.
that's not Slanesh or Nurgle. I mean, who's that? It's like some kind of
No,
worker.
that's just, El Cuntio.
It's capitalism.
Yeah, El Cuntio.
It's just Cantio, isn't it? Yeah, you're right. It's the god of just
Got to get in,
be my
rear-ended. That's what it is. It's the
like
god of being rear-ended.
For me
Whatever that god is.
I need to for me to have more than other people. I need them to have less.
Yeah, and they will work hard to have less.
Yes.
Yeah. I wouldn't be worshipping or reading that god's books for sure.
I wonder
bro.
if the backroom decision of NDIS was how do we make all these fucking disabled people who cost money make us money?
Yeah,
and then
and
what we
if
do
you
is we
really
make
think
this
about
scheme.
it, keeping them occupied with that, and the occupied, in the trying to find people to help them to be occupied in that.
Yeah.
It's like itself. It's just like the whole double up, mate. It's just
Ouroboros.
it's on the next. It's a next level
It's
thing.
next level of the snake
Next
eating
level,
itself, isn't it? It's like it's legend level of just being
Help us
mogwai in the
to
machine.
screw you, to screw someone else, to screw you, just
Even-
screw you back. You know what I mean? No, but that's what it is.
You had to even you have to try and think about the layers of the fuckery.
I did. I had to
And
actually
you
plan,
had to plan
have a
the
little bit of a
steps.
thought, a slight, clicking of the gears to make that the steps happen. You know what I mean? Like
Because there's that
the level of just total fucking fuckery.
Yeah, think about it.
Anyway.
No, it's real.
Yeah,
And so,
real.
okay, and I had to go back to the TAFE thing. Maybe I'll edit this back into the TAFE thing. Is that, so when you actually speak to the disability officer, right, they are keen. They like behave as if like they're grateful because they don't have any, like there's not enough people for them to
Starving.
because they need to, otherwise they might lose their job.
Starving to prove worth.
So while these disabled people are all being kept away, the people that need them are like, yeah, they're like, they've got so much spare capacity. It's so a resource is great. And then they feel quite edgy because, and they behave a bit weirdly because then they're so like,
because they're so lonely from
just stuck in
inability to
office.
help.
Yeah, and been made helpless.
Yeah.
We'd like you to come in here and help people
And
with
that's the next
disabilities, start up
level
on
of
the
the
TAFE.
whole,
And they're like, oh wow, really? Like I've trained. I'd love to help disabled people. It's going to be so good. They just sit in an office and do nothing. And it's just like, and the whole thing's just there to like, so that because we know we need to show that if disabled people come along, we'd help them. And occasionally, if you do,
And they do. Yeah, they get good help. Yeah.
Occasionally, someone comes along and they'll get helped a little bit as a disabled person. Usually a bit late and things, maybe, or in certain ways. And the ways that matter most aren't available.
No, the true helping in the learning facility.
Like let's say,
But, look,
like if you really.
it's how they like it, think about it. Otherwise, they'd be changing it, correct?
Well, it used to be. I think disability used to be a big burden on society, and now it's a big industry.
Blossoming, multi-billion-dollar industry. Yeah,
Trying to get people to invest in it.
big money.
You wonder like how many more people are going to become like. Are we aiming for more disabled people? Do we want more? Like, shouldn't we be aiming
Medical's
to have
always
less?
been like that, though.
Like, why do we want this thing to get bigger and bigger? Don't we want it to get smaller and smaller? Don't we want to like
Well,
have
you'd
less and less
think.
disabled
You'd
people?
think. You want to
When you're
create
trying to
more
expand
independence,
research?
wouldn't you, rather than dependence?
Yeah, you would think. You know, when we were talking about the $1.5 trillion.
Yeah, in the special.
So I won't go too far, but we'll stay on topic here. But like, so when we're talking about like $100 billion or whatever, it was maybe $200 billion for fusion. So the current big, massive actual, which is going to actually generate real fusion energy, we reckon now, that's being built at the moment for $35 billion.
Yeah.
So Australia could be like build like 6 of them,
Blob.
for $200 billion. So what I want to come back to there is like, that disability. If you think about the amount of money that is in the NDIS that is like being spent to like help the people fill out the form so they can keep staying on the NDIS, right? And then maybe get out when they're just exhausted at the end to just at least go and get their fucking haircut or have an ice cream. As their whole, that's what they get out of it. That's after they've just, the remaining monies. But then is that, hang on, I've got a cramp in my stomach there.
Yeah, right.
But, oh wow, that's cool. I've had a complete brain fail. I love it. Mid-topic. Thankfully for editing.
No, it's good. It's good
Editing will
because
actually come back and I'll be able to fix this whole up.
helping.
That's great.
That's it.
But
No, but they do. They get malfunction, man. Like they just, like after doing all this stuff. Imagine doing it for years, being on these different processes and having to have people going through
with
just
no
dozens
control
and
over your
dozens
life.
and dozens
you
of
explain
people.
yourself again
Yeah,
and again
all
and
over
again.
again. Go through the
Oh,
whole ritual.
and I
you
had
know?
the accident, the hit
And
me
I
with the
did
thing,
this, and then
yeah.
I've had this, and then the last person to look after me was such and such, and they did it this way. And well, no, I'm sorry, I don't do it that way. I do it this other way. And having to get used to the whole new process. And man,
Well, is it like more advantageous? I wonder within this like to have. They want more disabled people.
well, the
People
more
are keen to get on
disabled,
it.
the more disabled people that there is, then the more that the obviously funding gets channeled towards them. So of course they're going to want more disabled people. Sorry, that's their customer.
I know.
Yeah. Well, well, actually, no. The customer is the people that do the business for the disabled person.
Do you know,
all
this is like, have you ever
the
seen as you're
disabled
driving
person is the money.
Have you ever seen when you're driving around?
And like you
Yes.
said, they don't touch any of the money, but they are the money. Their level of disability is the amount of money.
Yeah.
And then the
That's
the
how many people can
NDIS
harvest
gets
off
to be
them.
the middleman and watch the money be harvested off the person.
Yeah,
That's what they do.
yeah.
They're there to facilitate the
That's
people
right.
that harvest the money from the person.
And it's fucking wild that I don't know, man. People are.
And that's what in the simplest way possible. You know what I mean? Like
It's an entire industry, and it's a trippy thing.
Yeah.
And it will become
like any industry, once it becomes large enough, it just has to keep expanding. Otherwise, it eats itself, or goes out of business. You know what I mean? Like something else replaces it. You know, the robots come along, and then all those NDS people
Well,
filling
that's
out
what I wanted to say. Thank you.
forms
You
now
managed to get
just
me all the way
replaced
around.
by the robot. Yeah.
Let me just ask a quick question here. What is the current annual budget of the NDIS, NDIA in Australia? Okay, 52 billion. All right.
Yeah, which is that's solid.
Is for 25-26, 52 billion per year. So I want to just propose, I just want to point out, so the fucking fusion reactor that's being built, fusion power plant, 35 billion.
Yeah.
So this is more than an entire fusion reactor is being spent.
Yes.
Making an entire industry where basically none of the disabled people really get help much at all.
That's it. Creating tickets.
You're creating fucking tickets, okay?
Creating fucking tickets.
$52 billion worth of ticket making.
The ticket making scheme.
Yeah,
That's it.
With like some, right. If you gave $50 billion to, right, I'm just pointing out, nuclear reactor, fusion reactor, 35 billion. If you spent 50 billion, not on NDIS, but on research to fucking like get robotic legs.
Yeah, create robotic frameworks and
how much money?
brain chips and
I'm
whatever.
going to ask a question. It's a private company, but how much is Neuralink's annual budget estimated at? It's got 300 employees.
Yeah.
I was watching, I think, about them. They were doing their annual thing. Estimated at. And so this is like one, not the. I'm not going to try and say it's the leader or anything, but one of the leading companies in the world, doing like giving people back. Okay, here we go. Well, that's 600. So what's the big? Caveat. Okay. So Neuralink is currently operating somewhere in the order of hundreds of millions of dollars per year, but it's not a reliable budget. So publicly available estimates of how much is burning, spending annually. Yes, do that. And so Neuralink is probably spending 300 million to 500 million, maybe 200 million to 500, 600 million a year. It's very variable. But what the point of it is let's say it's $500 million, 500 million, right? 50 fucking billion. So this is like 10.
10 times. Yeah.
Well, 10 times is not. 10 times is 5 billion. Just want to be clear because it's 500 million. Right? So 10 times is 5 billion, not 50. 100 times the budget of Neuralink, the world leading, one of the leading things. Like they're about to go to 10,000 with 100th the budget. They're about to scale to 10,000 patients with implants. That's their next goal. 100th the budget of, and that is not just one illness. That's anything that's fucking neurological. Everyone in a wheelchair, every fucking person in Australia.
What
about robotic leg?
Their running budget is
What's the company that that you've seen that British girl and she's got the 2 arms? She's got 2 robotic arms. Yeah.
Amazing, man.
How much is that company worth? No, it wouldn't even be $1 billion. It'd be a couple of $100 million, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
So that would be like another one of the 100 things that. So bionic arms, done. There you go. $100 million. Maybe $500 million, $500 million.
Yeah.
It's probably that's more than that. Can they just launch one over here that's 3 times bigger than their fucking budget? That makes robotic those arms for everyone, the legs for everyone in Australia. Like seriously. So it's this $54 billion a year budget to pay people fucking helping people fill out fucking forms and make an oatmeal.
Tickets.
Like literally what the hell? Like what about let's think about like the say all of the socio stuff, like people who have need psychological support and they can't. There's just not even enough psychs to even deal with. It's impossible.
No, not even robo-psychs.
No, we haven't got them developed yet. But you could. What if they all got together and you could develop one of those? I bet you could make one of them for 500 million or $1 billion, couldn't you? Like if all the psychs got together and were like in Australia, we're going to give you $1 billion fund and
answer a million calls a day. Anything more difficult than what it can handle.
Well, what you'd have is you'd start off with maybe like a psych assist, so that if you were a client of a particular psychologist, then they had their version of an AI that was trained on them watching you and them.
And
so it was client confidential, and so it's not like some big generic one. So maybe you make a specialized. I think $1 billion sounds almost too much. Once again, probably about $500 million. Roll that out across Australia. There you go. There's fucking mental health robot support. They've done. We've only got 3 things.
Let the robot do the ticket. Let the robot do the ticket to the psychologist. You know what I mean?
Let's not even have disability. Let's just actually fund $54 billion in disability solution. Just not having disabled people. You know what I mean? I only got through that with Neuralink, the robotics arms company from the UK that does that chick's arms, right? And what was the third one? psychologist, right? That's like a personalized AI bot that helps particular psych. Right? So you got three things. That's 1.5 billion, 54 billion, 1.5 billion, and that was three massive fucking categories.
The complete
1.5 billion, 54 billion. So what are the other? What are the other? What are the other 97 disabilities that we're going to solve this year?
Just put them on the list.
This year,
yeah, that's right. Got plenty of money.
Yeah, 54 billion a year. Holy shit!
Right. Bam.
So there you go. That's just that's infinite money for basically for Neuralink to operate here forever. Neuralink, there you go. You're funded forever. Solve it for us. Thanks.
Help these people. That's right. Give them a better. Even if they can come out of the vegetative state and go kill me, then let's do it. Yeah.
Robotic arms. There you go. Done. Yeah, thanks. How much do you need for the assembly line?
No more beating your head on the shower wall.
What would the assembly line be? Like 100 million? That'd be excessive. That's excessive. Probably 50 million for a robot to make a robotic arm. Probably $50 million assembly line. Like it's peanut money. $54 billion. We better be. If we start getting into the small factories and shit that make robotic arms. We don't need motherfuckers, you know, like a few. So it's not as
You're going to be
big.
printing the fuckers. Yeah.
Like it's just like the $54 billion doing nothing. NDIS is a complete scam. It's making an industry of nothing, an industry of suffering. People continuing to suffer their entire lives wasted, worrying about losing the NDIS.
All I got to say, it's delicious.
It's delicious. And in that $54 billion, we have 100 instances of $500 million. Is that right? Yeah. Because 2 of them is $1 billion. We've got 54 of those. Yes, it's 100.
Yeah.
There's literally and you've got like $2 billion left over, or $4 billion left over to manage.
100 opportunities just to sort shit out.
Yeah, 100 opportunities to have like complete, solve a disability.
And then export those things overseas to others that can't afford it.
Entire industry.
Give them the services.
You want to make an industry based on disability? There's a fucking industry made on disability.
Bam.
You know, with 100 companies like just focusing and solving like disability.
Major issues, yeah.
Jesus Christ. That's a progressive country. Let's make an insurance scheme which is so complicated that it has departments dedicated to individual tasks. Like imagine for example your business, for example, that like say you were mentioning that you've got a new app, and so that within that new app, right, there was, like you said, there was a function of, for example, assigning a part to a tech, you know?
Yeah, that's it.
Right?
Calls.
Right. So imagine there was an entire department.
Geolocation,
There was an entire department simply for solving issues with assigning a part to a so assigning a part, just not a call, just a part. There's another one for calls, a whole other department for solving problems for calls. Each function in the app has an entire different department, and you know, and different issues within parts that have different departments because it's so big. That's why it's $54 billion, right?
Yeah.
To do nothing. Bloatware. And you could have 100 disabilities solved. Well, being in the process of solution. I mean, I can tell you what, they would set some
and
synergies.
set up industry to support it and export overseas.
And all of our disabled folk, like if you've got like a missing leg or something, then we're like, no, you're coming in because you're on the trials.
Yeah, you get it.
Being on the NDIS means that you're on the trials for the 100 tech companies. That's you get the tech. You're being tested. You know, we're putting the Neuralink. You've got sign up. We're
going to help you be more able.
We're going to help you be more able. You know, but what about me? That I've got like chronic fatigue. I can't get up. I'm so exhausted. No, we're going to make you an exoframe.
You won't have to exert any energy. All you'll be able to do is
like exoframe. There's like on a Kickstarter. There's like a Kickstarter for like a $1 million Kickstarter. That's how small the funding requirement is to have exoframes now. Imagine you get a $500 million fund to develop exoframes.
It's pumping them out. Once you finish helping all the unable people, you know, then you'd sell it to the military.
Oh, you know, oh my gosh. Oh, wow, thanks. Okay, how much is this going to cost me? Nothing. We're going to sell them. We're selling these things. Like, hey, what's yours to test?
And you guys, you know, get back up on your feet and do your shit. Man, we're going to sell this shit like hotcakes to buddy.
Oh, thank you. I can go make
We made a full military spec while we were building it.
While we were building it. May as well have, you know, same difference. I reckon if you had $500 million dedicated to like exoskeletons, you'd be having, like as a nation, you'd be competing with the amount of money that's spent by Raytheon and other, like possibly the entire spend on the industry. You'd be one of the leading top researchers.
And you know those investors would be champing at the bit to get in there.
Can you imagine how many people would want to then invest? Like imagine if as Australian NDIS sets up, like just as the example of Neuralink, $500 million, and Neuralink goes, we'll run it. Thank you for like, yes, it's all going to be all of that money. The Australian money will be in Australia, $500 million on that per year.
Yeah, which is
bigger than our entire budget. This is crazy. We're moving our S10E10 over actually to you guys because you're giving us more money than we even had in America.
Elon approved it.
But then how many people wouldn't want to invest in that? I'd be like, I'd want shares. I'd want to put like startup shares. Like Australia, like you can imagine like the investment that would pump into those things. That $50 billion that's being pumped in by the government would be fucking like $500 billion.
That'd be treble.
10x, mate. And if you think, and this actually goes to me to the heart of what I've observed of like actually the root of government has been, and it was to always go to the edge. For example, like, you know, colonization shot, but it was bad. But I just want to use it as an example of how governance systems are. So we would go to the edge and it would support the things that weren't viable. You know, so the colony, and maybe it was the military, but the military had the blacksmith, and it paid for the blacksmith to be there until blacksmiths, there was enough people around for the blacksmith to be his own shop, and then the military had a blacksmith.
Could afford it.
And you just continue that through to like, the government built roads or built the energy grid, or, you know, but then we've got enough energy, people can manage that themselves, and so but then the government then it needs to continue pushing this frontier of what it funds, and as an example, and instead of like
future tech initiatives.
Well, like it was like funding the electricity grid. Now it's just funding a fucking insurance scheme to make people fill out forms. What's that? Like if it was, you know, if it was like pioneering like $50 billion a year into disability research, that's like building the energy grid. That's building the energy grid of the future. You know what I mean? Because it's building like an entire amazing industry of like robotics and neuroscience, fucking experts in all the fields. Like
and getting all the others to intermingle. That's it. By doing it.
Oh yeah. Like we would need the robots in Australia because we wouldn't have enough people here just to populate the industry that would be so amazingly powered up. Like, and I wager that actually that $50 billion spent in that way would it be more effective and help more people than the NDIS currently does. Like it would help them better, serve them in better ways.
Totally agree.
Rapidly. Totally
agree.
You know, it would be crazy. Like, you know, like it's and you just look at the scale of that thing, and even if like, you know, you kind of like went, okay, let's shift it. So maybe in year one, because even to find 100 things, I think you'd run out of shit. I actually think
you'd have spare, sorry. You wouldn't get 100
you wouldn't even
things
get
that
to
need
50 billion. Like,
no, because a lot, like I said, a lot of things that you'd be developing would be cross-compatible.
Yeah,
and
because
would
also
solve,
with disability,
multiple issues anyway.
Disability is not medical conditions necessarily. Like, so that's a different. Like NDIS is quite clear about that. Things that should be Medicare, like if you've got like a surgical issue or something, that's not a disability issue, right? So what I mean is that you start getting down to some pretty specific criteria about what disability is, which is either like a physical kind of thing, essentially, a set of mental potentially ones and emotional kind of ones. There's kind of like the three spheres of potential inability, like and then like say just even within physical, like once again, like the things that are there's only a limited amount of systems, etc. And a lot of them would be quite physical things. There's a lot of that, and you would have then the money that would be left over for somebody who was really in a particular situation who had some crazy genetic thing that needed to be in a bubble person, and it cost them $1 million a year to live. You know what I mean? Like you can really afford that person, like that's like more specific versus people who in a lot of scenarios like just actually need people like like a lot of more basic stuff. But some of it would be it'd be interesting to look across, but like a lot of it's physical mobility issues.
Yeah, getting from one place to the next, or
yeah. People in wheelchairs, all those kinds of things.
Stuff.
Yeah, and so things that help them become able. I think you said it really well. Like that you would look at those things and you look at all the impairments and go, how do we de-impair?
Focus on what's going to give the enablement. Yeah,
the enablement. And a lot of that psychological stuff. Like I think that you could even in that AI thing, like being able to fund like a few different categories. Like of that real specialist. Like, but there'd be a lot of spin-off as well. I love it, man. And compared to even the $1.5 trillion, like in the numbers we were talking, they're like $100 billion, like industries, which are big ones like space, etc. They need lots of that. And then we can talk about the disability one. It was a snippet. Imagine like with that 1.5 trillion, the entire disability budget we're talking here is 54 billion. The 1.5 trillion from the superannuation funds could put in like 500 billion into this, like be the 10%, be the 10x, be the 10x of the government.
Throw the extra in. Make the investment.
Make the investment. Do the 10x. And so the government checks.
Be proud to be living on stuff which was helping others to be enabled, and knowing that the money you were making off it from the whatever else it got sold to afterwards, was part of that, initial, helpful investment to make sure that the enabled got there, could afford it without having to pay for it.
Synthetic livers, all sorts of things, maybe like manufacturing body parts or all
get
parts.
Right onto it, man. Printed shit. Yeah, get the printed flesh going on, man. Come on.
And actually, what's interesting, it's a little bit tangential, but one of the things that's like, when we talk about like sort of resource limitation, that fundamentally like we can't make things fast enough, and there's just not enough. We can't extract the resource quick enough to put on the assembly line. The scale of shit, actually, if you think about like iPhones, even like Gorilla Glass, and how many tons of Gorilla Glass goes on iPhones if you're having X hundreds of millions of years. The trucks are like just rolling in constantly with tons of it. Like it's just like a continuous. It's absurd. Like it would be like 7 trucks an hour being delivering fucking screens. Like it's so you can get some really interesting things going. We have an issue around resource limitations. Essentially, that's what I'm trying to say there. So,
and people being selfish, like even with this chipping going on. You know what I mean? Like the price of memory, mate.
But what I'm realizing about this is that besides resource limitation, one of the main things now is like it's not even human resource. It's for example specialized machines. Like for example photolithographic things for precision chip manufacture. That only one company in Sweden makes. Except wherever it is. But it's just really interesting. Like I think like how once again like why wouldn't we spend 50 billion to make a mass manufacturing plant of those things? Like if you could make like 2 nanometer chip manufacturing fab machinery on an assembly line, like why not build an assembly line for chip manufacturing? Like so that this, because I mean especially with chip manufacturing, interestingly enough, there's the primary product which is silicon. There's a shit ton of it. Like when Australia has, we've done definitely.
In some way of refining that here. Like,
that's easy. Where we have like 5 tons. We have enough silicon in Queensland alone to cover the entire Earth, every piece in a solar panel, and have much surplus. Like the entire planet could be, we could pump out solar panels to cover the entire Earth from Queensland, and with spare, like just like it takes a while to produce that many though. But that's the volume. So
and our shore ones would probably have a definitely different look to them afterwards, probably.
Well, the entire Earth would be coated in solar panels. Ocean every square centimeter, and we could do that. You can go into space. We're going to make them that big.
Beach shape,
pump in space.
Nice sitting in your solar panel at the beach.
But I just don't know. Like I'm actually getting more and more boggled. Like when I think about something like NDIS, and I think about like the governance of Australia and how we are literally spending it to create an industry, a disability industry, an industry that thrives on people staying disabled.
That's right.
And we could actually make an industry that is about them becoming enabled. And that the price that we'd be spending, it's embarrassing. It's actually fucking embarrassing to me.
They don't try to cure you, mate. They try to keep continuing customership.
Yeah, the suffering. Instead of the industry of suffering, we literally have the industry of enabling.
Yeah.
Like it's
something to be proud of.
It's got 300.
That's what it would be. It would be something to be proud of, mate.
Proud of as a country, like as a people. Can you imagine feeling like you're an Australian then?
Yeah. our country supports all these different industries, which are all fully give the enabled life for nothing.
For nothing.
Next.
Because they're Australian.
Yeah.
Well, for experimenting, we do need to
of course,
test count the vaccine.
Yeah.
That's their benefit, obviously.
For their benefit and also long-term our benefit.
Our benefit.
Yeah.
And that's benefiting from disabled people.
We want that proudness again. You know, when people, overseas in India, some kid gets his little exo frame that, the United Nations has paid top dollar for us to transfer
Imagine
over
how you would
there,
feel as like
the
some person.
the satisfaction of knowing
Imagine
the
like
African kid with polio can now walk again.
Well, imagine like at the moment being the person like say with MNMD, like
the multiple sclerosis thing.
Dystrophy.
Oh yeah, motor dystrophy. Yeah.
That instead of like just sitting there going, oh my god, I'm dying slowly, surely, fuck me, like you're actually like, I'm in a trial of like an exo frame, and wow, look, I'm actually walking to the shops.
Yeah.
Just how you would feel as a human.
I'm wiping my own ass again.
I'm wiping my own ass again.
Yeah. You don't understand the tears in my eyes the first time I got some toilet paper, snapped it off, and then got to wipe my own ass again.
And saying like, I was able to help with that.
For the first time, someone's wiped my ass my entire life, and now I can do it myself. Fuck you.
So proud, literally shows it on, it does the dots of wiping on ass. So proud, moment.
That's it. Real,
real Australian moments of joy.
Yeah.
I know.
Encouragement.
Yeah, encouragement. You'd be getting up, and imagine like instead of getting up, okay, today I'm going to have oatmeal again. You're like, fucking today, I'm going to be in that research thing, they're coming to pick me up at 9 o'clock in the morning.
NDIS guy to come around and spoon feed it to me. No,
the NDIS guy's going to come around and pick you up and take you to the thing where you're going to be like helping, like you're going to be plugged into something, or we're going to be using some trials and stuff and fucking helping you out, because I've got entire teams working to solve your fucking illness.
And by the end of the day, walking out with your own, under your own,
mobility or something like that.
100% enabled.
Do you think that I reckon that disabled person be trying to get a bit? Often, like I find being a sport worker, like they all want to start at 10 o'clock. I reckon they'd be like, I'm getting out of bed at 8:30.
Yeah, I'm up. I'm
ready.
How
much it would actually reduce depression.
Super keen.
Just like secondary depression because of the situation.
I know. Today, I'm getting my new legs.
Get my
fucking new legs, mate.
And eyesight, whatever.
By the end of the day, once I've trained the exosuit up and it's gotten used to me, wiping bottom. Independent, completely feeling the independence again.
You'd be keen to get out of bed.
You would.
And even if you couldn't do that on day one, like you say you didn't get to wipe your ass, but you were in the research thing, and it was like maybe it took 3 years, and that exo frame was kind of clunky, and it was getting better, and finally, the first time, maybe once or twice you fell over in the test one,
slipped in like a fucking silk fucking robe, plop straight into the latest model,
jogging down the street.
Yeah, that's it. Banging till all hours. That's it. Sent to the old pumper Rooney. Was it John Travolta mode? John Travolta / Elvis swiveling hips mode.
But as a human being, like as an Australian, to think this through, I mean, honestly, it is shameful. It is embarrassing that for $54 billion we could do all that, and we do this instead.
We do tickets.
We do fucking tickets.
Fucking tickets. You know what? It reminds me of that time. You know that fucking time when that fucking cunt did the thing? No, I'm serious, mate. Like, you just did the thing. Everyone got fucking upset, and then, mate, it's like everybody knew you were going to do the thing, and you just proved us all right. That you are the biggest, luckiest fuckwit of all fucking time.
Well, I mean, I guess I have the lived experience of that, and we can even within the context of what we're talking about, because I was part of the original administration team, part of that team for NDIS, and so before it was rolled out nationally,
back in the NT,
it was rolled out in the communities. For example, like in the NT, it was rolled out in Tennant Creek, and within that first 6-month pre-NDIS rollout trial, we assessed all the issues of fraud and things that are the inquiry and other things. Like so if you're asking about like in that regard, like this, like the thing that's doing the thing that you thought it would do, like it's just because you just knew it was going to have to be the coniac. Like it was going to do the thing. That is it. Yeah. Because you actually literally told them.
Pre-work for it.
You actually imagine like you got an employee starting and you're told to give a report on the employee, and you say this guy's a cunt. He is going to laze around and make the biggest freaking like waste of money hoard for our business you can imagine, and be rude about it.
Yeah.
And then you give that as the recommendation, and then they get hired.
Yeah. It's perfect for the job.
Yeah. To cunt just gets
to be a total.
Oh, you're like you wanted a cunt to do the thing.
Yes.
I didn't realise.
And we're trialling it here because we're going to get cunts Australia-wide.
Make sure that we want to see how to maximise the fraud.
And ultimately we know what the max frustration will be.
They wanted to learn how to maximise the fraud.
Ticketing. We always knew it was going to be the ticketing, but it must be backed by total cunts. TCs.
Total cunts.
Total cunts.
It's in the lexicon. And so what I'm realising from this is that the reason why it was trialled in Tennant Creek was because they knew that environment was the maximum fraud environment. Yeah. And they could figure out how best to just be dodgy. It was going to like max out the dodgy factor.
Super dodge. And
so they used that to actually like as the model for all of the providers to rip everyone off.
Here's your guidebook.
Here's the guidebook.
These guys have been through all the
suffering.
We know how to make this work perfectly, so it's max frustration. Well, it's like the one
max frustration.
Like I'm just saying for the one that we deal with. Like I've rung the one that my son is involved with, right?
Yeah.
When you ring them, there's two modes.
Yeah.
It'll ring out and go to an answering service and go, oh, you know, sorry, no one's available, and then have no answer, like leave a message service.
Oh, ticket.
Ticket, Look, generated, no one could answer.
No one answers.
Ticket generated, and the other one is, it rings, it gets to a thing, it gives you the options, you press the one you want, and then there's no sound. It goes nowhere. It's like you've gone into the void. There's no dial tone, there's no music, there's no nothing, and you're just sort of sitting there going, am I connected? And you go, hello, and there's nothing. It's like you've just gone nowhere. So the two choices, one, rings out, no one answers, to electronic ticket generator, no one could answer. And then the other one, got to message, got to main menu,
And then silence.
waited patiently for all the menu options, pressed the option that was applicable, silence. Nothing. And then no email on the website, which is connected to them, other than the logging in. Logging in, guess what? If you have a problem, what do you do if you have a problem, Si?
Oh, you have to...
fucking ticket. You got to fill in the form. You fill in the ticket, and then nothing. No response, no email, no nothing back. Nothing.
No, just the ticket.
So I got that frustrated from ringing, and then I got to the point where I went through all the fucking options in the menu.
Wow. Oh, you just tried them all?
Tried all the options.
Just to see if you could get anybody.
Just to see if they work and get anywhere.
Yeah.
All to the no noise place. I'm fucking serious.
That's
why I just went,
this is fucking fantastic.
How do I even talk to these people? There's no way to talk to.
They think, well.
There's no way to talk to them. And then you go to the website. The email is general inquiry. Again, click on it, make a ticket.
Yeah.
Make a ticket.
Make a ticket.
Never gets replied.
Yeah.
Never gets responded
They've been taught. They've actually had the correct guidebook, haven't they?
Yeah. It's just been delivered to everyone.
Meanwhile,
everyone to do with it. They all run the exact same fucking scam. Yep. When you sign in, you get all, you give all the details and everything else. Blah, 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 blah.
They onboard you, which costs $1,000 or whatever.
Yep.
Then they get the money.
Take a little bit of get the money.
Onboard it,
And then
crickets, nothing.
Fucking crickets, mate.
Just
fucking crickets.
Just crickets. And you either
then you ring them.
Oh, that costs that's an hour.
Yeah, you ring them, and like I said,
If you send an email or whatever, they could charge an hour for that they interacted with that email.
Sit there thinking about it, pondering whether they should just reply an entire hour, and then when the hour's up, they just go like it actually. The computer prompts: do not email. Do not email. Like
the hours being spent.
It just tick, and then it automatically just flushes the ticket.
Completed. The ticket was successfully completed. 100% success rate. Our customers are so satisfied. We have
in fact, we never hear from them again. In fact, we don't hear from them at all. It's gold, mate. It's absolute fucking gold.
It's real, man.
It's just making money.
I know, it's just making money.
$52 billion, just making money. It
just goes up every year. It's bigger and bigger.
Well, it costs a lot to flush tickets, bro.
$54
There's a lot of editing and
tickets.
pressing that button and looking at it for an hour and then just to get flushed, and then completed. That's a hell of a job. Like I could go home at night if I was doing that job, just watching tickets getting flushed.
That's actually
I could sleep well. I would sleep.
It's actually less work than when we had sleeping money.
Yeah, it is less work.
It's actually less work than when we had sleeping money.
Sleeping money,
sleeping
money was good. Garden fucking microwave equipment is truly sleeping fucking money.
Yeah.
All right.
Stuff on some farmer's hill, having a
sit on some farmer's hill, garden, a couple of fucking microwaves and a reel. That is sleeping money.
That's sleeping. And this stuff, the finishing a ticket for the NDIS is
better.
It's better money.
You do less.
You do.
You don't even have to set up.
No, and you get
just
paid
go
more.
In there and you just click a button.
These people will be like 120 and shit.
Yeah.
They'd be on
120 easy.
And if they were even sick and they couldn't press the ticket, then they get paid anyway.
Yeah. In fact, while they're not there, the boss just engages AI to do their job.
Oh,
yeah. It just automatically flushes the ticket. It doesn't even bother waiting the whole hour. It just makes a fucking nanosecond decision and just flushes the ticket immediately.
Done.
What am I doing? I've just got our AI systems do 1,000 tickets a day.
Well, you don't want to do them too fast.
Clear some of the backlog. Not much. Just enough so that when the person returns from their holiday, their short break in sickness, health, or whatever it is that they've decided, has offended them for the week.
Yes.
Come back to work and then just back to the ticketing.
Back to the ticketing,
mate.
And sometimes listening. Like if you're actually in those primary call centers where there are people as opposed to the ones like your experience where there's not and they're never there.
Well, your job is to do what I'm doing, right?
And that's always leave things and get back. I think they're getting back.
I'm hearing you. Yeah. I'm getting all this down. I'm jotting all this down.
Because one of the things about getting back is that you've contacted them 1 hour, they've interacted with you, and then they got to get back to you 1 hour, right? Minimum.
Exchange,
so to get back to you is like twice as much money than it is to answer the call. Yeah, because it's 2 hours then. It's like 1 hour to listen to your message.
Because there's an hour of prep prior to the call.
And then there's the
just
hour
getting ready to call you. you,
Well,
and then
well, it's just
having
the
the list of 50 questions of
No, but it's just the minimum.
identification and having to you got to go through the making sure it's the right person.
Yeah, you got to
because
like,
you can't
at
have
least the
fraud.
first
So
5 minutes. Like.
yeah, I may need to get a picture of you with your your universal ident standing next to a wall,
so that we can make sure that
and
no
then
one
I'll
else
also need a
but
picture of
us
your
can
genitals
fraud you.
just to reference
just-
against the pornography that we've got held against you.
Yeah.
In our databases.
That's right. So that we can
just so I can compare your penis to the penis that we've got on record.
So that we ensure that we're in. That you're not fraudulent by being able to fraud you by having every detail about you.
We need to know all the details in case we need to defraud you of your own forgery. That's right.
That's right.
Mr. All Caps, Mrs. All Caps,
all the caps.
all the caps. That's right.
Oh wow.
Capping hard. Talking about capping hard, we're 2 hours in, or maybe an hour and a half.
2 hours? No, 2 hours.
Yeah,
2 hours.
2 hours. Nice. Living it, loving it. I know we were late. Yeah, you can
Thank
blame
you.
transport for that.
Oh wow, it was wild. Sydney had a bit of a brain failure for the transport failure for a day.
Especially snort, pig road snort.
Achievements were not achieved in those regards, but that was a good. I think that's good enough on the NDIS and the disability thing. We've covered a range of topics.
covered that well.
Yeah, still got a few angles. Yeah, it's ridiculous. And I just want to say again, never think about it. Like 50 billion.
No, that's a lot of money. And when you start thinking outside the box and applying it to other things instead
It's
of just
sad.
the grift of the fucking ticket making.
Yeah. We could be a world leader in every single one of those things in 1 year.
Yep.
In the first year.
Topics. Let's pick another one. I got a good one here. Inbreeding is bad. It's bad for your culture and it's bad for your society.
Breeding is good.
It is.
Yeah. Look,
Diversity is true strength.
do we re-implement like systems? Say, okay, in Australia, there's a particular name for it. I'm going to get hang on, I want to get the proper name. Hang on, before we start this, I'm going to just get this. What is the technical name for skin systems? Things that cultures use to ensure to reduce to minimize inbreeding. There's a particular name for it.
When my parents were young, they used to do like a blood test to make sure they weren't
the term is
directly related or something.
And so in the world, a lot of cultures have these exogamy systems to prevent inbreeding. And for example, in the Australian Indigenous cultures, it's like the white people call it a kinship system, but it's exogamy, and it's actually one of the more complex ones. And without like going into great detail, essentially that what it meant is that each person when they were born, based on their parents and things like that, there was a known animal totem that represented that. You know, so maybe like go out parenti and something else meant kangaroo was next. I'm just whatever. Right? So I'm not trying to say that that's correct, but that and then kangaroo could only hang out with like wombat, whatever. Right? But if they went out for the other one, bad, dangerous. You know, like sick. Like, so this system and what also actually just staying on the Australian Indigenous one, which is interesting, is that the interconnected totem creatures wrap around so that it turns out that then as an example, like a 14-year-old is the grandmother of the great grandfather, and therefore has to look after him. Yeah, and so is his mother, kind of thing, like or whatever. Like, and so so then responsibility is kind of also, besides being an exogamy system in the Indigenous Australian one where it was protecting against inbreeding, it also did this other thing which created a built-in responsibility network so that elders were actually looked after by young people.
Taken care of,
because you knew that that was your child, this 80-year-old man, whatever. Here's an example. So it is my opinion though that in and there are other kinds of ones around the world that are
use that similar technique.
Yeah, it's very special. So here's my guess: is that, say for example, in China,
keeping the intermingling to a minimum.
There's the Chinese zodiac and the rat and the horse and the the snake,
same system, and
the rabbit, etc. That actually, it's actually the same system. That's actually like the system of like not
a lot of the horoscopes were actually designed to stop people from fucking each other that take place in their own
and to create these concepts of auspicious marriages and stuff like that. And the design of them and the span of them over years are actually indicative of like what is expected of types of pairings across ages to indicate that. For example, like if you're in the Chinese zodiac, like say I'm a rat, and so either I should be married to someone who's the same, or like it would be like this almost like a 12-year, like there's this particular kind of gap. So but beyond that, it doesn't make sense. It starts getting too far away, and so it has these built-in even kind of measures and systems, I think, around trying
to keep it closer to your age when it comes to being with someone as well. Rather than having the big gap.
Or if you are like in that age gap, it's sort of like whatever it is, like it's a 12-year gap or something like that, and you'd be like once again, if we're talking about younger or 15, and so it'd be like 20, you're not like 70 or something like that. But I think also in the the auspicious nature and it really there's so much investment, in this concept of the auspicious marriages and births that that are built around these systems which are actually exogamy, I feel. So potentially the astrological stuff in Europe is a European version of that, and I suspect that why that has come to pass is that the traditional clan-based belief systems that would have been through Europe that were then disintegrated by Rome, and then everyone was kind of just a servant to Rome.
Right back there in the clan stuff, you were marrying into families and things like that.
They had exogamy systems. Say through UK and everything, all those small clans, they all had types of exogamy systems.
And their own versions of it,
So, and then in a sense, when I think about Rome coming through, it kind of destroys that because it just makes you like a breeder unit for the empire. And it says, don't be following that crap. You make another slave when we want you to make a slave. You're breeding
you'll be fucking when we say fuck. That's it.
And which is sort of more today's experience, where that kind of sacredness or whatever has been disintegrated.
Eroded and disintegrated,
I don't know, now we just hope for the best.
Happy-go-lucky,
Well, it's interesting.
For the stars.
If you try, think about if you tried to actually only date people who were auspicious. So it was like a Chinese and system. They say you decided to use that as a system or whatever.
As your basis,
Yeah. So then you were actually going, I only want, Aquarian, rats and dragons, as an example, because
won't be interested in anything else.
Anything else,
regardless of cuteness, because they're the ones that are going to work. Yeah,
that's going to work, right? We'll supply, evidence of it is an interesting thing to not inbreed in that way, and to enforce that genetic diversity and strength. In say for example in Australia.
I think it's important for survival side. To be too close is just to weaken the chances of survival. If you really care about your clan, you don't want to weaken it. You want to strengthen it.
You do. Yeah. You don't want to be the bad person marrying the other kangaroo because that's just going to cause
Peter and the philosophers.
They were having to breeding with the strongest.
To get the strongest blood. That's right, and the strongest seed to build the next generation of strong men and strong women.
Not forced. That was their sort of cultural belief system.
That's right.
To deny them
needed those strengths to be transferred. It would be an injustice. It would be an injustice not to share that.
To share the seeding.
To share that seed. You must. It's imperative.
It is.
For each of the races, they need that to make it the strongest.
Yeah, and I think that it was interesting even in that, that he might be the center of it, but they're the ones they're in control and doing the choosing of the situation.
Oh, totally. Yeah. He was the prize bull, and he was there to be milked. That was it. He was the prize bull. But,
well, but that's an interesting thing.
That was Paul Pete's job after he had become the successful.
Because that's because at a certain level that starts moving into where you're trying to make your entire population be your offspring, that kind of kingly way, that kind of getting.
No, he was anti that. He was the one suffering because he had only love for one, but forced.
Which one?
Well, the princess or whatever it was, the chick, the one with the dad that hated his guts and knew exactly what was going on at all times, but didn't have the heart to destroy his daughter's his daughter's love for him.
But that's the one that of course in the classic trope that's the one he doesn't have.
Yeah, it's the one that he doesn't get. That's right. Always waiting for it. It's like Blue Ball's sister.
Well,
almost there, but never there.
Does that character end up in that situation, or does he actually is he actually completing? I think they're wanting him to complete it, aren't they? They usually that's a pretty trippy show.
The thing is, right, and this is where they, you can have the wife, right, and the concubines. That's not a problem.
No.
And the only thing that really is the issue is Pete coming to that fucking conclusion and going, yes, okay, I'll have the wife and I will also have the concubines and not feel guilty about it because it's perfectly acceptable.
It is.
Being the greatest fighter, that is the gift.
His responsibilities.
The gift. That's right. Yeah. I think that was the whole issue. That made it funny was he failed to really take the mantle of his true responsibilities.
Yeah. He was struggling with his responsibilities in life.
Instead of taking those concubines like he should have, he just sat there whimpering as they took him.
Yeah, well, that's it. Well, were they
so much for the mighty fighter. He might have been a mighty fighter in the arena,
the peak princess,
but he was more like the whimpering coward in bed. That's it. I mean, sure, he gave them a run for their money and they were always satisfied, but he was the one who was waking up crying.
He was, but I wouldn't call them concubines. I'd call them like peak princesses, like princess sort of level
peak
quality.
Princesses, that's it.
Of each of the cultural sort of systems of the planet.
And they were peak. I can tell you, I was really looking. They were very peak.
I haven't actually looked, but people have commented.
Is there an uncensored version of that movie? I would be keen to see it. With all the cut out due to the.
No, totally, there is. Yeah, there is.
Yeah, cool. All right.
Yeah, no, you can totally see that elsewhere.
I got go with that. Yeah. So I need the full effect. I don't like the censoring. The censoring Everything's funny and it's cute, but I'm there for the
You're
adult.
hentai.
I'm there for the adult version.
The pervert hentai kind of.
And then for the perversion. Thank you.
Thank you. Well, that's fair enough. No, that's it.
Anti-man. That's it.
Trees, spirits.
That's it. Elves tonight.
all things.
That's it. Stomach distortion due to Rodney influences. I love that spell she cast on it. That was funny as.
I was thinking to that this week about making imagine an avatar thing. So like what we are, like VRMs, Voids. But then what you do is you map it, the movement, like we do, to a body moving. But the body moving that you're mapping it to, you also coordinate map their body, so you're mapping over somebody. But instead of that being like at the moment where that would be bad, it was early days of this, and so if you flick it in and out, suddenly we're a live person or something where we're just positional data where there's no live person behind things. But using augmented reality. So let's say you're using your glass, your three or your threes or your Quest 3 or the Apple Vision Pro, so they're good quality color pass through and stuff. That's why I'm saying those two specifically.
And be able to overlay. Yeah.
And then so that you're looking at a person, and then they're actually, as they're moving, they're replaced with a V-Roid. Yep. So what about an Apple? I mean, it's not very, it's obvious, pretty obvious, but I mean, I've been talking about this since the 90s, so it's not like particularly new. But I think that actually there's the opportunity to really do that now, like where what if? And then you walk around the person, and it's mapping that with you and real timing it, so that then you can have a cat girl. So you could have your partner as an example, but then
have the outfit, and then they're mapped over.
No, have the outfit mapped over, so they don't have to like have a tail or anything.
You don't have to wear the hot outfit. That's it. They could wear the virtual.
They could just look like that to you. Right. I think that would be an interesting thing, because often the intention in, like, for example, what we're doing right now, the intention is to make me the thing into a character versus making other people who I'm looking at into characters.
Yeah.
And most of the software is focusing on making us characters versus making other people we're looking at into characters. I'm not even sure that I'm aware of particularly any that are reversed in that way, because usually it's the person wanting to present themselves in a way. Like think about VR chat or whatever. It's like, oh, I'm making an avatar to present myself to others in a way.
Yeah, your representation. Yeah.
Where obviously this system could also do that, but that'd be cool. Like imagine going to like a con for people who are in VR chat, but then you're augmented, but you're all looking like your avatars. Yeah. As you're walking around the room. Like that is
That's it, man. In there cruising around as a character.
That'd be a really simple app to make.
Things all mapped out to the menu.
So we should make it, but also we should make it.
Yeah.
Can I talk to you about some coding stuff? Have we got some time to actually talk about some interesting
coding talk? Come on.
But a coding talk that I'll turn into a segment, like not just like updates on project stuff, but it is an update on project stuff, but it's very specific, and it's around like me programming for codecs and to work with codecs. And so I'm running an experiment at the moment, and so in the next Cheep or whatever, I'll have a result of the experiment. And my experiment is as such is that what I've done is I'm making so I've set up a poetry Python environment. The correct thing, I've got my dependencies, I've got a bunch of things loaded in. I'm running VS Code as my development environment. I'm running Codex 5.1.
I was looking getting some LMMs downloaded as well. So
and I've actually in my current for the S10E10 desktop, I've downloaded just as I don't really know what I'm going to use it for in this, but the Apple machine language libraries for Python, and the one that can download Hugging Face, so I can control my local use of NPU and stuff, and I can start running local models. That's my first beginning of running local models. So it's a bit of an aside. I don't want to go too dramatically. So anyway, inside what I'm doing, so this is the experiment running. So I'm aware that Codex can look across my file system within a project, and it can make changes to files and create folders. It can do a bunch of things, right? So what I'm doing is and instead of like trying to write a massive prompt or a series of prompts like, oh, let's make this module or this make a startup thing or connect. What I'm doing is I'm laying out the structure of the application with all of the folders and packages like it would be, and then within each one I'm building scoping documents. Right? So each, like for example, in the top level of the document, so the documents are also hierarchical and they're related to the folder they're in. So I've got one which is kind of application specs and context, which goes across the whole of the application and talks about what the application really does. And then within that there's like, for example, WX, which is like a UI builder in Python, which I would actually prefer. I'm looking at perhaps this is the first app that I want to build, which would be using actually Mac's desktop proper things.
Getting the proper
things. No, Swift UI, sorry. So inside WX is then a UX UI specs and context, which goes into detail about like the certain elements, how panels work, how menu, like how the Apple works, like on all those kinds of levels. And then inside the panels folder, which is so that then if you were typing in Python code, you'd be going like WX package, for example, .panels, new invoice, and so you'd have the new invoice panel, or accounting new invoice in this case. And so then I've got like down in there another specs thing, which is specifically about like going into more detail about panels, and then each one of the ones will be like workflows. So if I want specific workflows, whatever, I'll literally go in there and make documents which specify how the workflow flows, which steps go in which order. And it'll be very simple. It'll be just like the workflow is like get a contact, present a table, like like a series of steps, like literally just saying those things, writing those things. So presenting a field for the person to type in $100, whatever the amount was or something like that. So I kind of explain some of that down, and then what I'm going to do is give this entire structure here inside VS Code, and I'm going to give it to the Agentic 5.1 one and say start at the top and read through, and then build the app, create, you know. So I think I'm
a long way from those initial stumblings and fumblings.
True. I mean, my own knowledge is also greatly improved, and even like being able to put together the folder and structure and potentially like empty .py files or other things like that that would have meanings and
flushing.
Well, being able to have like to build a structure that I could reference, I think I've got to a point where I could do that at the same time as the agentic AIs would maybe use that. But I mean, other people already do that. So I think it's an interesting experiment anyway. The experiment is that it is making not just a prompt but an entire reference system, and then giving that reference system to an AI and saying, well, make that fill in the blanks. Like basically, there's the spec sheet.
Create the foundation.
There's the thing. You're gonna have like a UI. You're gonna communicate to Zero. Here's the APIs. Fucking write the thing. Give it some. I don't know. I reckon it's gonna be really interesting seeing how that works. And then after that, then batching, kind of like then saying, like say for example, I've now made a bunch of scoping documents for this section. Go through and make all of these panels, or go through and make all of these settings. I've like worked out what I want all these settings to particularly say. Like go through and make all of these, and then I'll just go through and like look at all the things and then make them. And so what I'm going to do is basically build something so that the first thing that it makes is all of the major components, and that I can then have it so that the UI works at the top level and
basically managing. Like
it functions all the panels and it does it all how I want it to go, and it connects to Zero, and connects to Zero.
Get transfers,
lays out and things, and I can add
in the format that Zero's looking for.
And then basically I'm uploading to it a bill. That'll be my first thing. I just do bills. I can upload bills. And then from that I'll just make all of those UI things tweaked up, and then once that's the template, then I'll say using this, and then then we start rolling out. Then we start rolling out panels. Like basically the way that Zero is. So this is separately. The way I'm thinking about the application is very different to the way Zero works, or any like accounting software tends to work. So I'm not making it. So like an example is like simple as that is like in Zero or MyOb or whatever. If you went and said I want to make a new bill, right? So maybe you got to go into purchases. You go new bill.
Add new bill.
And then opens a screen, whether it's on desktop or
billing.
It's a whole form, So it'd have like at the top who and date and all the bits, and you can fill out all of them. You know what I'm saying? GST,
client number,
your client number, down the bottom total. And but what I'm not going to show that at all. So there will be I won't show like and what that essentially is like it's the same thing you'd see if you were looking at a view of a finished transaction, but it's editable. And it looks like
completed.
And it looks like, if you think about it, it looks like what a paper one would have looked like. The address is at the top, and there's like the thing, and the, like on the right hand side at the bottom is where the amount total is, and it says sum total. Like it looks like a printout. It looks like what it might if it was printed out, like similar. And so I'm going to say I'm not going to make it look like that. I'm going to make it look nothing like it would if it was printed out, because that's like super inefficient. I'm going to make it look completely different to that. I'm going to make it so that it is really efficient for entering a bill. And
well, you said that was part of the monotony that you wanted to get rid of.
Yeah, we want to make that super simple. But in doing that, like, and so I'm actually rethinking the way that like this kind of content is even presented. And I started writing. It was interesting because and it's been an interesting process. Like what I'm saying is like by having to write these kind of documents and think about the way it's helped me structure how the app works, because I've had to think about how I would explain it. So I've gone, that doesn't really work. What am I talking about? And I have to make this really simple so that I don't have to end up with massive, ridiculous documents.
Just use this code.
And so I think like I don't know any app that works like this. Like it will feel very alien to use, but
a little unnatural.
It'll feel very unnatural to use. Like it'll be like, oh wow, that does that. Okay, that's interesting. But once you start using it, it will, I think, become really addictive in the way that it works. Like, I don't mean in like a bad addictive way. I mean you'll be
you'll be wanting to put your forms in because it doesn't feel like a
Well, also I think that you would
wildebeest.
It will inspire. Like I think it's interesting because it like I think it's a different way of presenting. It's a very when I look on my screen right now. Let's say I open every application. I went through and opened every app on my computer. None of the applications on the computer would behave the way this application behaves. Like wouldn't barely even like look like it. None of them even would look like it. Like that dramatic. I mean, like in a sense, like from the get-go, like what the app looked like. I showed you that thing I sent you, that little picture.
The special bar.
That's the whole app, right? That's the thing that floats around your desktop.
Perfect.
And then if you click one of those things, shit happens, right?
That's what it should be. Ultimate widget.
Yeah, basically it's a super widget. This isn't an app, it's a widget. But it takes the widget mentality and then builds it into this hyper modular design. Like it's completely based around like the function of what you're trying to do. Like it's I don't know. I'm excited.
Not the pretty frills and all this stuff. Just to press the button, put the detail in, blam, done. Makes the thing.
That's right. And but also the way I've got this whole system. Anyway, like when I'd actually make it, it'll work easy. But when you're in it, kind of like any of these drill down systems, like even in your email.
Oh, you got to follow the rules,
Well, no, but in a drill down, any kind of drill down scenario. Let's say you're in email. So you drill down through a bunch of folders and emails, etc. As an example.
You have to get where you need.
Like I would say for a financial system, you've got to go into like bank thing and down into wherever and you're somewhere, and then suddenly you need to fucking know contact information, right? And so then you've got to go out of where you are, and you may be like, well, however you might have to do that.
Flip to the other app to get the detail.
You got to make a new tab. Maybe like in Zero, then go contacts, whatever. But if you went straight to contacts, you'd lose where you were. Like in say most web-based applications, good,
it'll
contact.
default back to the start again.
And then you'd have to go start again, right, and go back down to the chain. So instead of that, for example, like whole kind of way of thinking, if you are in a particular state, like let's say you were in that same example, you were down in some
state or whatever.
You were down in a transaction inside a client somewhere, like down deep there. Then you wanted to go and do something. You need to go do something else. Oh, you're in like reconciliation. You had to go get to client list. So you're in reconciliation. You're making an invoice to fill out for to reconcile a thing, and then you go, oh shit, I need to make a new client. So you got to go make a new client. So what this thing would do, what you can do with this is, you can either go when you went to click on new client, you could do that, and then when you click back to where you like on the other button, which would bring up the make an invoice, for example, and make a bill, everything would be exactly where it was.
Yeah.
So it holds its state because you hadn't completed that task. So it's like, well, you must be still trying to finish that task.
You're still trying to finish it off.
So it's still hold it complete state. And then the other thing is that any view you're in, let's say you've managed to get yourself into some position which is giving you like all of the transaction information on something, like whenever it's really important and you need to look at something else, that you can press a button and clone essentially where you are in the system. So then you have two views. And in the second view, then you can move off and go to wherever you want, right? And it continues on. And the other one holds like for example, the complex, like the lower deep. So that you don't even, so then you actually have two view movements. Like you can be moving through the finance system in like three or four different
view of it, and then
three or four different like top trees, one's going down here, one's going there, and then and you can see those information and you're moving those kinds of tables and doing all that kind of stuff that you're looking at without having to jump between because because you're actually like creating multiple viewports into the system,
into that same data,
into the same data, exactly. And for example, if you're making like a bill, and say you had two new bills open, two new things going, that they wouldn't have a database ID. Like they wouldn't, while you're typing in the info, neither of them are already recorded as a bill in zero. Like once you press the confirm button, then that one would get that one. So you can have like six running if you wanted to.
You save the record, and the record would then, I imagine, update with all the other ones anyway.
So the other, so you can have like multiple instances open of something. It's interesting. The
only time you would get an error would be if you were editing two fields at the same time with different information, and then it would probably be the one that saves first, wouldn't it?
It'd be the
same. And then the one that saves after that would save at the top.
Exactly. With a special checking thing in the database so that the thing's locked and you can't like do it like whatever, like something like that. So they couldn't do it exactly
currently being edited, viewing mode only. I
don't know if it puts a lock on it in that way. I might have to use like a better database to get a lock on it.
Just an idea.
That's my coding story, which is interesting. And it does, I think, be able to split it up into a few, but like one around like there. I'm curious to see how separately now. It's getting a bit nerdy. It is I'm curious to see how I use the Apple AI. Probably not in this application, but I'm happy just to have it. But I even installed it. Like I'll actually put it in the Cheep app. That's where it's going to go. There's heaps of use for it there. Going to be cool. I'm going to go empty something. We've got 15 minutes left. Choose a topic.
Yeah, I'm looking.
Well, also from just the week in general. I mean, I could moan about my transport things, but it's funny though. I think like
I had a bit of a quiet week. Things sort of settled around this time anyway, and then kick back up, end of January.
Yes. Yeah, we're in December, aren't we? You're going to be able to have a break or something, I suppose.
Get into Christmas mode.
Are we going to do a Christmas Cheep? What's the story that weekend? Well, isn't Christmas in the middle of the week? So I think Cheap's just.
I'm not doing it with family this year because of health issues.
Health issues.
Just with my family. We just got a quiet one. So should be able to do a Christmas special.
But I think Christmas is on a Thursday, isn't it? I don't think it's like it's not a cheap day. It's not normal.
No.
I don't know if we could just do the Saturday as the Christmas.
We could do a very VR Christmas.
Okay. We could do a very VR Christmas. How about that? How about that? Let's have a look. Let's have a look at the dates. So the 25th, isn't it? That's a Thursday night.
Yeah.
So we'll have a Cheep on the 27th.
And then just a VR get together.
Maybe should we have a VR? Should we have like
just jump into VR fucking chat or something on the headset?
Yeah, but why don't we try to film the output and put it through? Like let's try because we have got skills now. Like I reckon that I could use our two things and present it as like side by side content, or even present it as like I don't think I think if I tried to do like a vertical video live feed that YouTube. But I guess what I'm trying to say there is like we could with the VR stream potentially. I could record it out in OBS as a vertical video.
Yeah. Because
there's two of us. This way we're kind of two slices. Where in the vertical video format we're two squares, which is kind of I don't know. Anyway, it'll be good. Let's make it. It's technical. It's a technical challenge. We tried it. When did we last do VR? Season 2 or 3?
Yeah, a while back. Yeah.
So 2 or 3? I think it might have even been 2. We were quite bold.
Well, now we've got equivalent tools, so it could be a bit more easy.
I think we just know a lot more too, and I don't think that I think that the challenge of even getting the OBS out, like we were struggling with audio. Remember back there was heaps of things like that we've got in play now that will make this a much more pleasing experience.
I can lock up my little Bluetooth smaller pair of headphones to the Quest as well, so they're not wearing these bulky bloody gamer headphones.
We will have a thing that we'll have to work out because the Quest has its own microphone system.
Oh yeah, no, but I'm just saying so I don't get the audio spill from the Quest because they've got those open
Oh yeah, it's
earphones.
tedious. Hey, yeah.
Yeah, so if I compare the normal pair of Bluetooth phone headphones I've got that should stop the audio from spilling into the mic.
Yeah, nice. I see.
And I'll be able to hear you and not get echo and shit, and you'll be able to hear me and not get echo.
Yeah. Wow, my fucking 3D green out, man. Like it was actually a combination. I was quite stoned, actually, straight up,
tripping balls.
And then
you went
I was
hard,
okay
because you hadn't done it in such a while, and then you just went, and then it's just like,
I was blasted. I was really like,
man, I got so into that game. Like I got to level 6.
Oh, did you?
In that shoot the zombies and the.
I don't like those games, like the control system.
I was sitting on my chair and spinning around, like to get them. I wasn't standing.
No,
I
was
got
sitting
on my
too.
chair and I was spinning left and right, and then just fully doing the running backwards curve move and just nailing them.
So my mistake was I was
just
sitting,
chasing me, but I was like facing them and taunting them and just shooting them in the head.
I was sitting in my chair, but instead of, and I thought about it afterwards, but instead of spinning in my chair, I was using the move left and right, which is that jumpy move, where it's like moves 20 to 30. I hate it. And so when it got hectic and I was doing that, I just got hectic and I got sick. I just tripped out. But if I was spinning in the chair, it would have been totally fine. It would have been good.
Yeah, well, that's why I did it, because I knew I was going to start. Because I thought initially, like, I'll stand up, I'll be right. And I went, oh, hell no. I'm just going to sit down and
the chair makes it make sense.
Yeah, because you can sort of spin on the side. Yeah.
Well, and then the movement you can rationalise, because that back and forwards is smooth. Yeah. But if you can rationalise that.
It's consolidatable to your brain.
To your brain.
That's what you got to do. You got to consolidate to the brain. Yeah.
But spinning in the chair is perfect instead of having to use their controls to move you left and right and the janky bullshit.
And at one stage, I was spinning around in one direction. And man, by the time I finished the level, I was dizzy as fuck, right? I was actually like, whoa, I can't even stand up. I'm that dizzy.
Yeah, right.
But it was good. I was just fully survived it. It was excellent.
I want to do it again then. I want to go back in to that and at some point and but use my swivel chair. Like I was sitting in it and you know what I was doing?
It worked so much more
effectively. I was turning in
effectively.
myself, but I wasn't turning the chair. I was only turning myself in the chair.
Yeah, and swiveling in the chair actually made the headset recognise the swivel as well. So it was good.
I reckon it might even be. That's
didn't have to turn the head as much to try and get the angles.
No, you wouldn't have to turn it all. You
just sort of use your feet to flick left and right. You know what I mean? Yeah.
Just to keep on the back of them. I love it. Thank you. That's a great idea. Wow. It was a bit fun. We didn't. We don't talk much. You just quite like we're both. I mean, maybe that happens over time.
I know. We've got to learn to play and talk.
Yeah. Play and talk. We should always go in there and attempt to do some philosophical conversation.
Games,
we need a philosophical
when you're playing Civ and that, getting the combo going.
Yeah, we do. I mean, I actually sometimes just talk about the moves I'm doing rather than Civ. I just sort of actually have game chat.
Yeah. Or have a quiet banter and laugh with the whole how we approach our world politics. The whole ignoring everybody until you need to talk to them, and then normally the only time they want to talk to you is when you're having territorial disputes with them about being in your land. Yeah. And all of a sudden they want to be friends and stuff.
Well, I mean, it's an interesting question because we're about to have a situation in North America, and the situation is that I've got 2 settlers, and I've just got I'm just dropping in engineers.
I'm already setting up multiples myself. So
are we going? Is the North America going to be a mixed environment where we have a patchwork of cities of each of our cultures, and so they kind of blend? Yeah. Is that a goal, or are you still?
I think so. I think so. Let's try it. Let's at least we haven't tried it before, so
we've got 2 very defined
spaces
and lines
where we live in the other part of European slash.
So I think in America we could try the American experiment where we
Australasia
have the melting
areas,
pot, just sort of mish and mash it. So we'll negotiate so we make sure that we have a sharing of resources and so forth. Feels comfortable.
Trying to be too selfish. How are you going for the uraniums? Have you got enough? Because there is still some nice deposits up in that North America.
Yeah, I'm down to I think 5 units of it being used for fuel.
So you've pretty much done all the decommissioning of your
the ones I can't
nuclear power plants and don't go into mainly solar and wind now.
Yeah. And
nice.
But the ones I've got but then I've got a few robots cruising around. So I am still using 27 of for robots. I'm still pumping.
Got to have our stompies, mate. It's not a decent game when I stompies out.
It is a nice addition actually because it got to a point. Well, it's actually a different version of instead of using stacks. Because you used to just build basically stacks to try and take out a city.
That's right.
But between that and then the bombers and various things, you can really get some shit going down. It's kind of fun. I actually think that the balance
I'm enjoying
of the game
it, and I'm happy that it's
improved.
cross-platform. As a Mac user and me as a PC, we can play games against each other, which is nice. But we'll be able to do that a lot more with the Quest now. Good.
Yeah, I mean, because we have access to the same game library. That's unfortunate because there's no real reason for the Vive to not be able to have exactly the same things. We're probably going to have to. I think that to be honest though, unless we want to make our own stuff, and it will cost us no money to do make a Unity account and set up a thing and drop it into the Quest things, and all of the controls and hand gestures and everything's already. They've got APIs for the whole thing. We don't have to fucking try hard. We don't have to try.
Ready to go. Can't build.
Yeah, I think we can make some tools, man. I think we can make some interesting shit like that, and being able to use it as a co-development and for free. I have got a smidgen of jelly around that you've got color pass through. But if I had color pass through, I would have.
Well, you can always upgrade, mate. Come on.
I could. Yeah, I can. I'm choosing not to. The thing I want is an M5 Pro Mac Mini under my fucking computer, under my monitor, and it's just
Got your Pro, mate.
with maximum memory and just
Focus, yeah.
Oh yeah, M5, like that'll be pro. It'll just be a beast.
Get the power and the glory.
And then it'll just start running local AI, like yes.
Yeah, finally.
But
Bam.
but with the Quest, man, like I really recommend if you have you.
Don't worry, you get to play with it when you visit.
Oh, I'm happy to buy one. I just like not just yet. I prefer to find one second hand. I actually don't. I don't even want one. You know why I don't want one? Because the resolution's too low. I want a 4K. I don't want. I want that the big thing, the little big thing.
Yeah.
I want what I can't afford yet. Otherwise,
Well, you're just gonna have to wait.
well, using it more. Also, I need justification. Like if we're using it and developing it, and I'm using it like each week, and it's on my head and it's charged and I'm functioning.
It'll have purpose.
I will buy a better one. But right now, I'm not going to buy one to sit on my $800 to sit on my counter and do nothing. There's no point. So it has to earn its keep.
Show purpose.
It has to show purpose. If I tried a system called Immersed, really, like if you have found the meta version of display extension, so you can actually put a Windows window in a like and floating it in augmented.
That's it.
So you can. I don't know how you do that on Windows specifically, but
Oh,
you can.
Windows 11, it comes in as augmented reality.
You can put a monitor up. Can you separate a monitor? Can't you? You can
Essentially run shit within that monitor, yeah.
and you can place that in your room. So Immersed is like that as well. Like I would, and I totally recommend that you start learning how to like getting comfortable with your workstation, like where you actually have
Having the
like,
multi-monitor room,
multi-monitor VR, and you can sit in augmented
Just shit everywhere.
on your computer. So you're working with your headset on while sitting at your computer, and you've got like fucking 6 displays and doing shit.
That's right. Yeah, shit going on.
And you've got like an AI girlfriend in the corner, like hanging out, talking to
Just
something,
winking at me.
Yeah, winking at you. You know what I mean?
Maliciously. Peeling her virtual clothing off as I'm trying to work. Stop it, darling. Stop.
Yeah, stop. Yeah, busy.
I'm busy.
Waifus lounging around, you know? and with the Quest, man, like seriously, like experimenting with like being able to like make environments where then you like you can walk out of your bedroom, say, so for example, where your computer might be, and then into the lounge room, and there's things out in the lounge room.
Yeah, I want to be able to place my VR girlfriends out there.
Yeah, so
my
when you walk, they're doing their own thing, you go
insane.
back out there and start playing volleyball.
They're
or
like
something.
playing these games with each other, trying to turn me on and shit.
Oh, yeah. Honestly, well, volleyball might turn you on, but yes, I was attempting to use a more middle of the range example than like that they were doing tentacle porn in the lounge room.
Please, I'm desperate. Insert this tentacle.
Hang on, I'm making bacon. I'm making bacon pancakes. Just standing in the kitchen with Finn and Jake making bacon pancakes. You call bacon pancakes, and like a little mini Finn and Jake. It comes in. Imagine like that, like actually like meme widgets that drop in. So you say something like making bacon pancakes, and Jake and Finn drop in AR.
Automatically cop. Yeah.
And start singing the song while you're going and you go to the cupboard and they go, get the bacon, and you go into the thing, you get the bacon. Let's make the pancakes. You know what I mean? And they sing the song, and like that would be some cool shit. Like actually, so it's live integrating like little characters, little things like happening.